and Ashley Dillon.
Thank you, Karen. Just in time to see Lloyd Haskett shooting for goal for East Perth for their second. This will put them back in front. Haskett's kick on the way is straight over the goal umpire's head. So the Royals have got 2-1, south of 2 straight after almost 30 minutes of play. With me in commentary, Wally Foreman and Trevor Sprigg. Ashley Dillon on the boundary. And Haskett taking the... Well, that's Brooks taking the mark. And now Haskett inside 50. Dempsey Narkle arriving late. Well, these two teams have been the disappointing sides so far of this WAFL competition. Disappointing in round 1 at least. And they've both got their backs to the wall here at Perth Oval. And both coaches have been under pressure. Robert Solon and Mark Watson for South Fremantle. The ball back in the middle. Emerging there is Worsfold, gets a hand pass towards Davison, who kicks South's last goal. That could have been holding the ball. Wheatley put a good tackle on Davison. Davison knocks it back towards the middle. Collard shovels it to Cracker. He gets it out wide. And Worsfold in the van. Tackled strongly by Silcock. He goes back to Collins. Collins swings onto that left boot. Kicks up towards full forward. Dorotich is there. Well done. Couldn't quite control it one-handed. Now the snapshot from outside 50. He brings it back with a brilliant kick. Well played, John Dorotich, for his second. And Souths are back in front. Patches of scrambly football, but in general, this first term has been quite good, Trevor.
Yes, it's been goal for goal, as each team scored a goal and just taking it in turns, basically. Big John Dorotich there coming out, getting Lee Willison out of the way, his opponent today, but then showing good agility for a 32-year-old, 105-kilo man.
Not a bad snap.
And it's a great kick from 55 metres. And John Dorotich, I had to talk to him during the week. He's been trying very hard for South Fremantle and has been a little bit disappointed in the efforts of some of his teammates, but he's keyed up for a big one today.
So Souths lead by 5 points, and we're nearly halfway through this first term as Begovic has pulled off the ball. It's knocked forward by Richard Graham. Chance for Davison for Souths. He's caught. Gets rid of the ball in a hurry. Socked forward by Wheatley towards the half-forward line, almost into the pocket. That's Ballard battling tigerishly at ground level. Wheatley comes through again, gets the hand pass away to Edwards. Edwards to the top of the square, not a bad kick. Talbot is there, well placed. Was pulled off. No, he wasn't pulled off the ball. It was a bad miss in that case. And Souths are able to run it through for a minor score. Souths 3 goals straight. Good kicking early. Dorotich has 2 of them. The goal scorers for East Perth are Haskett and Lyle, as Deracourt prepares to bring the ball back into play. South's 3rd goal has been kicked by Davison, as Deracourt kicks long. Leaper there was Dempsey Narkle, and he retrieved the ball, allowing Souths to get it in towards the centre wing position. This is Adrian Collard, did all the hard work and then lost control of it. It's picked up by Lyle, gets the hand pass wide to Lester. Lester down towards full forward, and this time Talbot takes the mark, but he's far too far out to score. Lester is streaming past. That allows Talbot to make a little bit of ground and kick to a more central location. And Peter Miller has taken a superb mark. Terrific mark by the smallest man on the ground, up over the top of Davison. So Miller, the club champion here at East Perth in 1992, 3rd last year behind Ryan Turnbull, has kicked East Perth's 3rd goal, and the Royals are back in front, and at this stage at least showing a bit of spirit.
There's Peter Miller there coming back into the side today and playing in a somewhat unusual role for him. He normally started in the midfield, but starting today in the forward pocket against Darren Ballard. That was Talbot, who went to play onto his right-hand side, then came back to the left. And this is the mark from Peter Miller. He had to go for it. He was the man in the position to mark as Wheatley was dropping back there. But terrific play by the little fella, eyes on the ball all the time. And he's always worth goals on the forward line, is Peter Miller.
And plenty of courage to go with it too, but that was well played by Talbot to set that up for East Perth. There's the bounce back in the middle, even Stevens between Graham and Caputi. Brooks went without it, another chance for Brooks. He pushes it out finally, and socked now by Graham. So the Royals can go into attack again here with an ounce of luck. It finishes up with Cracker, and he goes through the middle of the ground. Adrian Collard is out there, with him was Jackamel, who won the day. Now it's Foster. Long and lean, he goes towards half forward. This is Miller again, almost lost his footing. Cliff Collard is with him. Now Walker and Atkins. And finally Collard mops up for the Bulldogs and kicks to half back. Bottrell out there, with him is Lester, who got his fist to that. and finds the safety of the white line.
And the new opponent for Peter Miller with Ballard coming off is Cliff Collard, who started today as a rover playing out of the forward pocket.
We've seen him kick some clever goals over the years, Cliff Collard.
They need his composure in the back line, though, I reckon, TJ.
Yeah. Graham got that down towards Brooks. Hand pass upfield. Haskett long towards the top of the square. Talbot's there. Can't take the mark. With him there was Narco. Talbot recovers best and snaps, but he's offline. One behind only. The Royals by 3 points here. 18 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Well, they've traded goals. It's South Fremantle's turn to score a goal now, and Dean Talbot knew that.
25.5 degrees again this afternoon. Balmy conditions, pleasant conditions for watching football as Collard goes down the middle of the ground and Dericourt lunges into that to take the mark. He's still backward of centre-half back. He favours the members' wing. Cracker's behind. Chance here now for Silcock on the wing. Can't find the handle. Tried to push it back to a teammate in Foster. Taken by Caputi, who sold his teammate Cracker into trouble, but he got a high tackle. That's Andrew Cracker. He's still holding his head.
Yeah, very bad decision by the umpire there. He was on the way down, and Mazurek really couldn't do anything except tackle him high, and that should have been holding the ball in my view.
Andrew Cracker short to centre wing. Caputi takes the mark as Haskett arrives late. The hand pass goes to Begovic. Begovic from right centre wing, kicks to half forward. The ball carried Bell, beats Collard and beats Jacamel. Jacamel is first back to it. His hand pass wasn't a particularly good one, but it's worked out okay for East Perth. It finishes up with Mazurek, and now they'll clear the ball from left half back towards half forward. Opportunity for Talbot, who was in front. He was crashed to the ground. This is Begovic, who drives it back to the 50-metre line, but the kick was ill-directed. Bad miss by Richard Graham, who went to ground under a heavy bump from Dorotich, and Graham was lucky he wasn't penalised for holding the ball. But he felt that bump from John Dorotich. Yes, another player.
He only needed to grab him there, didn't he? And it had to be a free kick, and there it is. There's the bump. Instead of jumping on him, he should have grabbed him, Dorotich.
If he'd taken the mark, it wouldn't have happened. Faithful gets it to Haskett. Haskett towards the right centre wing for East Perth. Opportunity out there for Johnston, I think it is. Goes to ground. The ball knocked clear of the pack. Begovic is first to it. Lester is with him. Bottrell is with Begovic, but he goes further than that to Worsfold. Worsfold is moving towards half forward, kicks well inside 50. Dorotich is the target. They've got two men back on him, and he nearly took that mark, Dorotich, but it spills to Faithful. Good defensive work by East Perth during this first quarter. They've been under pressure a couple of times, but now they clear the ball by Foster, or through Foster, up towards half forward, and it'll be a free kick to Walker. The umpire ruling that Atkins pushed him out of the contest.
Tremendous battle between Walker and Atkins. There's the free kick. Walker kicks into the pocket. East Perth player on a lead is Edwards. Dericourt, did he hang on to him? Not according to the umpire. And Collins emerges and kicks from defence back to the middle of the ground. Graham arrives in the nick of time. On the overlap, Perry. Perry goes through centre half forward. Wheatley's the target. Good kick, good lead. He's marked 50 metres out. And a chance now to bring up East Perth's fourth of the game. They've doubled South Fremantle's money as far as scoring shots are concerned. And as they watch on, Foster's taken the mark in the pocket. Now Foster about 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. No, it's Talbot. The full forward. Talbot shoots, and it's across the face. One behind only.
Had some chances, hasn't he, in this quarter, Talbot?
He's kicked the last two behinds and is not happy with himself there.
Missed a relatively easy mark too, Trev.
Yes.
The top of the square.
Had his chance. It was a promising move by East Perth, though, going forward. Started from Richard Graham in the half-back line.
Crowd of about 2,500 to 3,000 watching play here as Collard goes down the ground. Mark missed by Collins, but it comes out towards Begovic, who kicks to the members' wing, and Atkins has got away from Walker and takes an easy mark. Only 24, Marty Atkins. Seems to have been around a lot longer than that. The ball on the members' wing, pushed out now by East Perth's Mazurek towards the wing. And that's Silcock, who ushered it over the line. Both these teams have gone in with plenty of spirit, Trevor, realising that they can easily lose touch with the top 5. Another loss today would put them under severe pressure.
Yes, they certainly are very keen on having a win today, and it'll resurrect them a bit and give them some confidence to go on with it after the first 7 fixtures.
South have only won 1, East Perth have at least won 2, as Wootton got that upfield, but Perry can't keep it in.
South may need to look at the situation with Computy playing Ruck and Dugan at centre-half forward. I think those two players are very interchangeable. Young Dugan very promising. I'm just not sure that he's the ruckman yet as he goes for the tap there.
With him was Perry. It comes down to Wootton, and now Cracker, Billy Cracker, on a 45-degree angle, angles it through. Very dangerous around the goals, and with not a great deal of pressure on him there, although he was on the angle, he worked it out nicely to bring up South's 4th straight. So once again, they're back in front as the lead seesaws in this first term.
Yes, defensive error by South Fremantle, allowing the space for Billy Cracker to run in towards his own goal. There you can see the space in front of him, and he was able to just hold on to the ball. He had the option of a handball over the top if the player came towards him. But Billy Cracker now showing the benefit of getting match fitness under his belt and has started to become a valuable player for the Bulldogs.
He looks a lot thinner and trimmer now, Trevor, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
So South's lead by 2 points, despite the fact that they've had 3 less scoring shots, and they have the chance to go forward again. Begovic has bundled off his kick, allows Lyle to claim possession for East Perth. He kicks long towards full forward. Talbot comes out, but he misjudged that badly. Or perhaps we should say Dempsey Narkle judged it much better, and he takes the relieving mark. Short kick finds Andrew Cracker, and he was being held in his endeavours to complete that mark. So he gets the free kick. Cliff Collard swings it to right half-back where Davison took the mark, gets it onto centre wing. Opportunity now for East Perth as Gale's hand pass was intended for Mazurek. Wasn't a good one. Bell could have got the kick. Does eventually. Earned it himself. Crashing through his faithful. Gale. Across the half-back line they go to Haskett. He wants to go again and eventually does. This is Lyle. Back it goes to Haskett. Good build-up here by East Perth. They've got to do something decisive now. He goes long towards full forward. Talbot has a look to see where Narkle is. Narkle is over the top, and he gets it through for a minor score. East Perth is 3-5. South's are 4 goals straight. And we're almost 25 minutes into this first term.
One of the features, well, is the kicking skills of players like Haskett for East Perth and Begovic for South Fremantle. They do kick the ball long, and it's terrific to see.
Ideal conditions to display the skills of the game this afternoon. This is Caputi. He's on his defensive 50-metre line. He looks down towards centre wing. Adrian Collard is the target. It slipped through his fingers. Wooten under pressure from Foster. South turn it over. Jackamel hurriedly towards half forward, and it's going to be a free kick. A push in the back against Jackamel. The crowd indicating that it should go up the ground, but the umpire clearly said that it occurred in the act of kicking, I suspect.
Yes, but a bit hard to tell. Probably in the act of kicking, I reckon.
Towards the 50-metre line, and Talbot comes out to take the mark. He has to go, or he chooses to go. This is Johnston. Goes in short and finds Walker 45 metres from goal. Walker is going towards full forward. Players streaming down in that direction. Dorotich is down there and takes the mark. He wasn't sure if it was going to be awarded. It looked as though he had played on, but the umpire showed good common sense.
Well, how do you work out that? Willison and Dorotich at either end of the ground at the moment. As South bring it towards the half-back line, it bounces just inside the field of play, and Gale watches it go over the line. Obviously, Dorotich had followed Willison down, Trev.
Yeah, I think he does have a run on the ball occasionally too, TJ, as a ruckman, so he may have been looking at doing that as well, trying to get Caputi off the ball.
Graham and Caputi got mixed up with that boundary throw-in. Gale got it inboard. Going in hard there, South Fremantle player underneath the pack. There's the other ground. Swans have jumped West Perth at the arena at Joondalup. Subiaco have jumped East Fremantle, and Claremont in front of Perth. But Perth away to a reasonably good start against the league leaders. Caputi wins the tap, hacked out of the air there by Cracker. Into the middle of the ground, Bottrell attacks the ball hard, gets around to Lyle and kicks to half forward, but it's ill-directed, chipping in Foster to hold up this attack. He goes into the middle of the ground, not a good kick, and Andrew Cracker takes a courageous mark. Lyle was bearing down on him. He goes short. This is Billy Cracker now from 55. He torpedoes towards Dorotich and Willison, and Dorotich has outmarked him, pays on and kicks an easy goal. And that's his third. South Fremantle are 5 straight now, and they lead East Perth 3-5-23 And it certainly has been an entertaining first quarter.
And a lot of the damage being done by this player. 3 goals in the first quarter, and also the 2 cracker boys. That's Andrew to Billy there. Billy's kicked a goal. He's been very busy around the ground, and he's bombed that towards the goal square. And then Willison making the Cardinal sin there, falling over. Now, I guess it would have been a goal anyway, but he made it a dead set gimme as far as Dorotich was concerned.
South slip out to a 7-point lead, almost on quarter time. Caputi with clean possession. Coming to meet the ball hard as Mazurek for East Perth. He kicks back towards centre wing. The mark missed by Gale, but he's able to recover it. East Perth need to get a move on if they're going to recover that goal, but the kick was ill-directed. Davison takes the mark, lays the hand pass off, and the Souths get out of trouble as they go towards centre wing. Faithful is there, with him Andrew Cracker. Gale comes in, but he's outnumbered 2-1 now. Souths win out. A hand pass, not a particularly good one from Collard. It's knocked away now by Faithful towards the boundary line, taken by Jackamel. Good hand pass ahead of the play. Here go East Perth now. Faithful from centre wing, kicks towards half forward, but again the kick lacked the carry it needed, and it's comfortably intercepted by McKnight. McKnight between left half back and left centre wing, and there's the siren. It's quarter time at Perth Oval. And Souths lead by 7 points. They're 5 goals straight. East Perth are 3-5.
Well, good kicking by the Bulldogs. 5 straight in the first term. As we check other grounds and see if there's been any change there. Not really. But a good start there by Swan Districts against West Perth in the game of the day. West Perth trying to protect their unbeaten run at Joondalup. Well, Dorotich has been the star for South with 3 goals. Crackers, as mentioned, have been about the place, have been very good rovers for South Fremantle, and Davison's chipped in with the goal, and Lyle as Miller and Haskett the goal scorers for East Perth. Well, East Perth today started with Mead, Coulthard and Gale on the interchange bench, and they've started off with plenty of dash, plenty of enterprise, and I'd say this is going to develop into a pretty good game, Trev.
Yes, well, 8 scoring shots to 5 and then trailing by 7 points. It's not a big margin, of course, that East Perth trail by, but they've had good support, I guess, from their players in the middle of the ground, particularly Brooks and Haskett have been lively for them. Jackamel's been strong in defence for them. And
so is Faithful. He's played a good game so far.
Yes, he has. He's been quite good for them, but across the centre of the ground, I think it's where they're struggling a little bit. South Fremantle seem to be on top across there. They had Mark Collins started on the centre wing. He was replaced briefly by Davidson, and then on the far side of the ground, Bottrell has done good work for South Fremantle as well. I think at Perth Oval, it's very important, as Mark Watson there talks to his players, that you must get the ball cleanly into your forward line, and I think that South Fremantle got it there so quickly to Dorotich for 3 goals. That shows the reasons why I think they are 5 straight, and South are 5 straight, and East Perth are 3-5.
Karate was the other interchange player there, Gulisic, Bell and Karate, and we've seen Bell and Karate on the ground so far in this game. It's a good goal-to-goal line by South, isn't it? It's a goal-to-goal line that you'd expect a bit more from than 1 win so far this season.
Yes, you certainly would. And terrific play by Dorotich. 3 goals for the quarter, and he went right down to full back when I think they were going to make a ruck change and then decided against it, and went right down and saved a goal, I guess. So he's done particularly well. The statistics there, not much between them as far as kicks are concerned. Shows it's pretty even. East Perth have had the ball with 18 more handballs than South Fremantle, and the hit-outs go 12-7 in favour of South Fremantle. So Caputi perhaps doing a little more there than we thought. Richard Graham, though, has been doing some fair work in defence for his team.
Let's have a look at some of the highlights now. This first quarter, you joined us late. A little bit scratchy in the first part of the game, but plenty of goals. In fact, 8 goals kicked in the first term, and this was luck of fortune, Trev.
Yeah, the bounce went the right way. That was Paul Edwards who did the feedback hand pass to Braden Lyle, playing right half forward today, and doing some good work for his team.
This is Adrian Collard, yet another brother into the team, and Dorotich doing all the bullocking in the pack there. And Davison finally soccering it through. And he's done some good work up and down the ground too for South.
He's a runner, a very good runner, Vance Davison. Probably runs a little bit wide sometimes, the boy from Mandurah.
But you've mentioned Dorotich, and he really was the shining light for the Bulldogs. 24 goals before today, and now 3 in the first term.
And the kicking skills I mentioned during the quarter, that's a 60-metre kick there from Mark Collins, and that allowed Dorotich to come out on the lead and was able to jostle and just balance the ball on one hand, but then great recovery. It just shows that a big man's job is not done until the ball's through the goals. And this is another one where the ball is scrambled forward. Ball went out of bounds on that occasion. I think South Fremantle do end up with a goal here through Billy Cracker.
It was not one of the highlights there, was it?
No.
5 goals, plays 3-5 in favour of South Fremantle. And let's have a look at the highlight again here.
And that's Billy Cracker receiving the hand pass from Wooten, who was playing across as a loose man in defence, and both he and Johnston, his opponent for East Perth, did get a fair number of possessions.
Greg Wooten in the side for South Fremantle today, and I know his family will be watching in the great southern areas, so I hope you're enjoying this telecast. I got your letter, and we do know his name's Greg Wooten. We're only just leading you on a bit, weren't we, Will? I think it was your fault.
You sound a bit nervous about all this.
Well, I am.
You've brought it up a few times.
I have, and I want you to remember that it's Greg Wooten, all right?
I'm doing my level best, Trev.
Okay.
And Robbie Solon there is having plenty to say to a group of his players out there.
Okay, let's go down to Ashley Dillon. We mentioned that both these coaches, Robert Solon and Mark Watson, have been under pressure. How did they sound down there? Pretty confident, Ashley?
Actually, it wasn't too bad at all, Trevor. They were both reasonably happy with the way the first quarter unfolded. Beautiful conditions down here, by the way. Robert Solon, pretty happy with the way they were playing. He just wants them to use the ball a bit better. Felt they were getting enough of it. Just felt they weren't using it as far as getting it into their forwards were concerned. Mark Watson, as far as South Fremantle was concerned, pretty happy with the first quarter. He did mention that's the first quarter they've won all season. He wants them to go long and provide plenty for their forwards way down the ground. Thanks, Trev.
Ashley Dillon in perfect conditions, as he mentioned, down there today. Hardly any breeze to speak of. Maybe some rain on the way. There's the embattled South Fremantle coach, Mark Watson. It's Graham against Caputi. The battle resumes in the middle. Second quarter underway, and Graham wins it easily. Bottrell keeps it in front of his body. Now picked up by Begovic, who goes back to Davison. And South can go into attack here. Bell on a wing. Can't hold the mark. He's in front of Majurek. Goes back to Worsfold. He gets around Majurek and kicks to half forward. Too far for Wooten and Johnston. But Wooten got the free kick. He's on the point of the square, attacking side. The drop punt. Dorinic the target. Willison over the top. Now a chance for Bell, but it's Andrew Cracker at the front of the pack. He brings it back for Billy Cracker. No, he lets it go for Caputi. On the overlap, it's Wooten who kicks it straight into Graham, but he gets a second chance. Wooten again to the top of the square. Too far for Adrian Collard, and Jackamel runs it through.
Gee, all of South Fremantle's goals have come from long kicks into the attacking zone. I just can't believe that Greg Wooten on that occasion would try and short pass.
So it's Foster who'll bring the ball back into play for East Perth, considering his options, and he opts to bring it towards the members' side of the ground and Leicester. I think Gale was perhaps the target. He finished up with a hand pass, but Leicester wasn't expecting it, and we're going to have a throw in at left half forward for Souths. It's 5-1 to 3-5. The margin is 8 points in favour of the Bulldogs, and they have the chance now to take it away through Brooks. They're under a lot of pressure back there. Rather indecisive football. Eventually, the relieving hand pass from Perry goes towards Brooks, but it's been intercepted by Wooten. Back in the Worsfold direction. He was taken high. Play allowed to go on. And they even had trouble getting it over the line then. It's Johnston.
Taken high and pushed in the back, Worsfold.
Another throw in at left half forward for Souths. And that boundary throw-in only went in a few metres, caught the ruckman by surprise. Opportunity now for Jackamel, who goes towards the line. And we'll have a throw-in this time in the true left half-forward position for Souths.
Just judging by that last passage, Peter Worsfold is pretty fired up today. He's going to try and take Jackamel out.
Dugan opposing Graham. Graham does best, gets it to the side of the pack. An opportunity now as Perry looks one way, gets the hand pass away to Brooks. No one to give it to, which is the main reason he had that bounce, and then floats the kick towards half forward. Very difficult for his half forwards to trap that. That gives South the chance. Begovic, high kick onto centre wing. Wooten is there, Johnston is with him, and together they force it out of play between the interchange gates, or between the interchange lines. Throw in on South's left centre wing, right in front of the grandstand here at Perth Oval. It's 5-1 to 3-5. South's lead East Perth. Graham gets front position. Caputi got his hand to it. Begovic got his boot to it. The ball wobbles towards half forward and it's out of play again.
Peter Bell started off the interchange. And a player who could easily spark some life into the Bulldogs. And continue this momentum that they've built up so far in the game. This is Davison, who's caught. Getting plenty of opportunity to get rid of it. East Perth supporters didn't like that. They thought it should have been holding the ball. 5-1-31 plays 3-5-23 here at Perth Oval. Live league football on ABC this afternoon, and the highlights tonight in our news between 7 and 7:30. And what a week it's been in sport. We'll talk more about that after half-time. Begovic had it, was dispossessed, and it spent about 5 minutes on this members' side of the ground, and there hasn't been a lot to cheer about. Caputi and Graham do battle again. Brought to the side of the pack. Begovic can't escape. He loses it to Wootton. Pushed out now towards Davison. He was legged, and this might break up this pack that's developed on the half-back line for the Bulldogs. He goes by hand to Wootton. He floats a wobbly-looking kick into the middle of the ground. Miller's there. Breaks the tackle of Billy Cracker and runs away from Billy Cracker. Good pace shown by Miller. Not a great kick. Talbot, he's run down from behind. No free kick there for the East Perth full forward. Now Collard in trouble. Loses it to Deracourt. The standard of the game has dropped away noticeably at the start of this second term as Narkle clears it out of defence towards the wing, and from behind Dugan takes a good mark.
Terrific mark. This is Bill Cracker as he kicks towards half forward. Bell is the target. Another good mark. Suddenly the game has lifted a little. Didn't have to rise far to get above the level it was at. It goes towards the half-forward line. Caputi can't take the mark. He's able to trap the ball. This is it's Andrew Cracker, who kicks towards the top of the square. Touch ball, play on is the umpire's call. It's socked back towards the 50-metre line. Andrew Cracker gets front position again. Wasn't able to slip the tackle. Hurriedly kicks to half towards full forward, but East Perth break it up. Richard Graham's hand pass comes down towards Perry. It's not Perry, it's Gale. Gale sweeps the hand pass into the centre square. That was a beautiful hand pass. Faithful's on the end of it. He looks towards full forward, chips the pass onto the 50-metre line, and Talbot takes the mark. Well, that was a good exchange from full back by East Perth. Talbot's obviously concerned with the distance. He's looking for options. A light north-easterly breeze prevailing here. It's just wafting across the ground. Absolutely superb conditions. Windscreen wipers have almost become an optional extra on cars in WA, haven't they? As the ball goes in towards centre half forward and Walker, and he takes the mark 45 metres out from goal. So Lee Walker has the chance to break the stalemate here at Perth Oval. Last 3 or 4 minutes have been rather inconclusive. Kicking at the goal at the City end. It's a good kick too from Lee Walker. So East Perth draw first blood as far as goals are concerned. In this second term they move to 4-5. Souths are 5-1 and the margin is back to 2 points.
Yes, classic bit of play from Lee Walker then, because his full forward Dean Talbot had come right out. There's him and screen their number 37. So Walker becomes the full forward then, and on that occasion was able to get on the lead. And the awkward kicking style of Lee Walker, he drops the ball in very close to his long, lanky frame, was able to steer that one through.
Other grounds are interesting. Swans still in front of West Perth, who are kicking badly. East Fremantle and Subiaco, that's tightened up, and Claremont have got away from Perth. Dugan wins a tap in the middle of the ground for South. Bottrell slung off the kick. Socket out there by Cracker. Another chance here for Begovic, who's tackled without it by Mazurek. Haskett goes in hard for East Perth on Begovic, and the ball being held to him. Umpire wants it. It's a nice hat in the pink. Now, a slight delay here while Haskett does up his boot.
A very benevolent umpire, I reckon.
Very.
He must owe Lloyd Haskett some money.
Dugan rises high again to win the tap over Graham, but it's sharp by Bell, who drives it into the full forward area. Dorodic in front, almost held the mark. Coming in now, Foster to mop up for the Royals, and he's got Brooks in the pocket. He needs a kind bounce, and he got it. Bounced up beautifully for him. He's outside 50 now, and kicks towards the half-back line, and Haskett, don't know what he tried to do there.
Just touch play on.
Right. Now it's Jackamel. Puts it upfield. Chance for East Perth again. This is Leicester, who waited for it. Stood back and waited, Leicester, and lost it. Adrian Collard got it away towards McKnight, who thumps it to half forward. It's Brooks again, but he got a bad bounce. Knocked on cleverly by Bell. Good spin by Caputi. He goes into the pocket to Wooten, and he's marked unattended. 40 metres out. He chips over the top, and South run down the ground unmarked. And now this is Worsfold, who shoot for goal from about 20 metres out on a fairly acute angle. Six possessions to Peter Worsfold so far. Concentrating hard. Can Souths get their first goal of the quarter? Yes, Worsfold's put it through. Not much doubt, and a fair bit of AFL experience in that kick. So South are 6-1, that's 37. East Perth are 4-5, 29. And we've played almost 9.5 minutes in this second term.
Yeah, it's a little bit unlucky here, East Perth, because Clint Johnson had come up the ground. There you see him running back to his opponent, Greg Wooten, and Wooten had dropped off to the forward pocket, but then this was loose defence by East Perth, allowing Worsfold to drift into that space there. And that was Brooks, I think, his opponent, that should have been covering him, and East Perth have paid the penalty with a goal.
6-1 to 4-5. 8 points the margin at Perth Oval. And we're now nearly 10 minutes into the second term as the ball goes on to East Perth's half-forward line. They've had their share of the ball, East Perth. Hurried kick towards half-forward for Souths. That's Bell on the bottom of the pack. Mazurek over the top of him. And there'll be a throw in between left centre wing and left half-forward for the Bulldogs. Peter Bell. Dugan gets his hand to the ball and gets it to the front of the pack. Leicester gets to it first for East Perth. Looks for the boundary line and finds it.
The South Fremantle forward setup consists today of just two talls in the key positions. Caputi and Dorotich currently occupying them, but with a mosquito fleet around them. The Crackers, Wooten, Worsfold, those sort of players.
Graham gets it down to Mazurek. He looks towards centre wing. Opportunity here for East Perth, and a good mark taken by Lyle. Recruited from Port Adelaide by the West Coast Eagles. He kicks down towards half forward, and Peter Miller takes a good mark in front of Cliff Collard. He goes quickly. He's got himself into some difficulty, missed kicks, and Atkins takes the mark. So that wasn't good football by Miller. East Perth need to make the most of their opportunities up forward if they're going to stay in touch. Leicester and Begovic. Begovic with superior strength. He's behind the centre line. Looks towards Collins at half forward. Collins collides with a teammate, Bell. Gets to his feet, but very slowly. Bottrell kicks towards half forward. Collard is spoiled. Adrian Collard comes to Jackamel. He wants to draw a player, but Dugan won't go to him. Now he kicks towards the half forward line. Walker steams towards the ball, and with him is Atkins. Walker and Atkins, and eventually Walker is awarded the free kick for a high tackle or a push. Lee Walker is at left half forward.
Collins a bit ginger.
A lot of vacant territory on the forward line for East Perth, if anyone can lead into it. He's delayed the kick. Now he kicks towards half forward. Player spoiled from behind was Edwards. Bill Cracker's hand pass goes to Begovic, and Souths will get out of trouble as Begovic kicks long towards the half forward line, but a good mark. Taken back there is Mazurek. He kicks back towards centre wing. Chance at the back for Lyle, but the umpire's whistle's gone, and it's going to be a free kick for Souths, and it'll be taken by Bottrell.
The East Perth crowd don't like it. Bottrell's got the kick from centre wing. Wasn't a great kick to half forward, and now it's Gale for East Perth. He goes by hand. Lyle. Clint Johnston kicks to centre half forward, and Peter Miller. Faithful is floated down the ground. That's the way the kick goes. And a Faithful who's been in everything today. Many times he's turned defence into attack. Over the top he goes, and Haskett snaps from 30, and he's kicked it. A very good snap from Lloyd Haskett. And East Perth are hanging on here. They go to 5-5-35. They trail by 2 points. The Bulldogs are 6-1-37, and Haskett's got 2.
And it starts from Faithful, who was very, very clever there, or didn't start from Faithful. He'd got down the ground to receive the kick from Miller. and then was unselfish in giving the ball to Lloyd Haskett, running down the ground. He's a good goal kicker, Lloyd Haskett. That's his opponent. Begovic has also done quite well for Perth, for Fremantle, playing in the centre of the ground. But he's a great kick, is Peter Begovic, and that's when Fremantle look dangerous, when they kick the ball long.
A lot of interest still in this match. Closeness of the scores has maintained that. Even Stevens between Dugan and Graham. Socket by East Perth. Atkins slung as he kicked. Chance in the middle there for Bottrell, but he went without it. And now Cracker is hanging on. And the free kick will go to Haskett. Away he goes. Through the middle. Floats it up towards full forward. And Miller chips in to take the mark. Plays on. Hooks to an open goal square. And the bounce is favourable. The Royals are back in front here at the 14-minute mark of the second term. Miller's got 2, and that's the second good snap in the space of a minute, Trev.
Yes, and Peter Miller making up for an error he made earlier when he's tried to short pass the ball, but he's been involved in the last 2 goals. This is Haskett, who kicked their last goal, kicking the ball long out of the area, and here's Miller. He looked a quick look over the shoulder and then was able to put the leg break on that one. Pretty well accurate anyway. And East Perth have answered every challenge the Bulldogs have thrown at them to this stage.
Well, East Perth have kicked fewer goals so far this season than any other team. They have the worst percentage in the competition. They're lying 6th. They get it to half forward again, and Miller is giving them plenty of bite in the last few minutes on that forward line. Has almost kicked another one. I think it just missed. Or did it? No, it didn't. It went the right side of the post. So that's 3 now to Peter Miller, and he's kicked 2 in the last minute. And East Perth have suddenly broken this game open. It's 7-5 to 6-1. They were trailing by 8 points just a few moments ago.
Well, it's an amazing situation, isn't it? Because Cliff Collard is the opponent for Peter Miller, now being switched off him, with Davidson going down to man him up. But Cliff Collard started in the forward line for South Fremantle today. An injury to Ballard saw him go back to the back line. But the renowned defender has had 3 goals kicked on him by Peter Miller.
Back in the middle, Graham wins a big tap for East Perth. Atkins socketed away there from his marksman Walker. Now Begovic hooks it towards half forward. Caputi's there for South. Knocked on there by Brooks for East Perth. And it gives a chance for Perry, who hugs the boundary a bit too close. Free kick to South. And into the pocket for Cracker. This is Andrew Cracker who emerges. He kicks up towards full forward. Dowridge and Willison. Beautiful pick up by Worsfold. And his kick goes across the face. And Gale now in the van. Karati's on the field for South Fremantle. That kick finds the safety of the white line. Ballard is about to come on. And I think it's Billy Cracker who's going to come off here. Andrew Cracker coming off. Thanks, Wal. Graham too strong there for Dugan. Cliff Collard gets a hand pass. Wootton against the boundary, kicks towards the top of the square. Willison tried to go off the ground. Dowridge couldn't control it. Gets another chance though. He's inside 50. And a little kick there finds a teammate in Collard. Cliff Collard will shoot for goal from 35 metres out and directly in front. Quiet game so far. Collard's kick is straight. So the Bulldogs move to 7-1, and now they trail by only 4 points here at the 17-minute mark of the second term.
So Cliff Collard being shifted to the half-back flank and this being able to drift down the ground on this occasion. Dorotic there in this play as well, and was cool with the kick as he saw Collard just ahead of him, probably 7.5 metres that kick went. And a goal to Cliff Collard. Swans leading West Perth there. South Subiaco and East Fremantle, interesting game, and Claremont well in front of the Demons.
Caputi has come off the ground for Souths, and he's been replaced by Rod Gruljicic, who's gone to centre half forward. As Graham is caught under the ball, but he gets his hand to it. Socket forward by Adrian Collard, and Gruljicic comes in and takes the mark. Had his arms pulled away after he'd grabbed it cleanly. So Rod Gruljicic, who really can kick the footy, gets it to within scoring distance and finds Dorotic. So South's coming back strongly now in the middle stages of this second term. East Perth kicked 3 quick goals. South's kicked the last one, and Dorotich is within kicking distance. He'll kick from just inside 50 metres. He's kicked 3 so far this afternoon, as has Peter Miller. He's pushed that well left. Perhaps he got a little too close to the man on the mark.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's just as if John Dorotich was convinced he couldn't kick that distance there, and it was only probably just on 50, and he's already kicked one at the other end of the ground from 55 on the run.
Just that little bit of breeze wafting in his face, perhaps, Trevor, was what discouraged him. As Brooks gets up in the middle of the pack, opportunity for Perry. His hand pass is intercepted by Ballard, taken now by Gale. Hurriedly towards centre wing. The bounce of the ball beat everyone except McKnight. McKnight goes down towards half forward for East Perth. Opportunity at the back for South, that I should have said, and the mark is taken by Mazurek. Brooks is unattended, but nothing more happening on the centre line for East Perth. They're having trouble getting it beyond that line at the moment. Walker charges at the ball. Atkins goes with him. Walker gets another chance at it, close to the boundary line. Walker did well. Almost knocked it onto an opponent's boot then, which would have resulted in a free kick. Was quick thinking. See it happen in the basketball from time to time. As we await the throw in at right centre wing for East Perth, in front of the grandstand here at Perth Oval. And that will be a free kick to Richard Graham, who held his ground pretty well, and Dugan crashed into him. This is Lyle. Kicks high towards the 50-metre line. Walker back there. Too easy for Bottrell. That's a bad mistake by Tom Bottrell. He's put it out of play on the full. And that really was an unforced error. Free kick to East Perth at right half forward, to be taken by Haskett. Looks for Talbot's lead, but he's ignored that. Now everyone will have to reset. Goes towards a fairly central location. Deracourt over the top, got his fist on the ball. Collins goes in. And we're going to have a bounce at centre half forward for East Perth.
4 points in favour of the Royals. At centre half forward now. Dugan wins the tap, but to nobody in particular. Shark by Miller. He was dispossessed. Brooks gets a hand pass out. Johnston overruns it. Put under pressure now by Worsfold. Another chance for Brooks. Hand pass straight up in the air. Gale has it knocked away from him. Charging to meet it, Silcock. Good tackle there by Collins, dispossessed Silcock. Haskett caught and hold. No, too high. Interesting decision.
Yes, the initial tackle seemed all right, didn't it?
Haskett goes across the ground. A chance here for East Perth's not Mazurek. They're picked up now by Foster from the point of the square. It was Mead who missed the mark before. The kick now to the top of the square. Atkins tried to fist it away. It came off the side of the fist, taken by Begovic, and he drives it out of defence. Over the centre, Dugan's there. Plenty of numbers for South, pushed out by Ballard. It's a very open forward line here. It's been put out in front of Adrian Collard. Richard Graham and now Perry in pursuit. Collard's outnumbered. Nobody can slap it out, and the umpire wants it. They're both trying to get it out, but they couldn't get a touch to it.
How hard were they trying, Trev?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Wal.
You're foxing, do you reckon, Trev?
No risk.
I think Collard was anyway.
Dorotich and Graham. Dorotich from behind wins the tap. Foster tracking it to the boundary. Keeps it in play. It kicks to half back, but there's nobody home. It's Peter Worsfold. He's got leads in the middle. Ignores them and goes short to Griliasic. They made about 20 metres, if that. Griliasic in the shadows. Squares it up. Up goes Dorotich. Can't hang on. Back goes Willison, but charges into his own man. Cracker throws it away. Cliff Collard's there. Now he can snap this from 25, and he's put it through. That's his second, and his second successful snapshot. He likes it too. And South Fremantle back in front by 2 points.
Yes, very interesting for Cliff Collard. He had 2 very quick goals kicked on him by Peter Miller. Was shifted off that player and has gone up to the forward line now. There's the hand pass from Billy Cracker, but a very good spin turn from Cliff Collard, and I think he just snuck this one inside the left-hand post there. But now he's returned the compliment by kicking 2 goals himself.
And Souths are back in front by 2 points. So the scoreboard has kept this game very interesting. There's the situation in the other games. Claremont running riot at Lathlane Park as East Perth get the ball towards half forward. Opportunity for them to score. Bad mistake. Oh, gee, that happened right off the ball. It's a free kick to East Perth. Haskett had made the mistake. He was 5 metres out of the play when he was pushed in the back, and he's been awarded the free kick. He'll have to bring it back. But he's very lucky to have this kick, Lloyd Haskett. He'll be shooting for goal from just outside 50 metres.
12 possessions, a good day's work so far for Haskett.
This will test his kicking ability, I would think. It'll take a good kick from there. He'll kick right on the 50-metre line. Perhaps there is just a light breeze favouring that end, although he pulled it badly to the right. The margin is a solitary point. South's 8-1. East Perth 7-6. It's Lloyd Haskett and John Deracourt. Been a valuable recruit for South since crossing from East Fremantle. He kicks short. Collins is the target. Oh, heavens. Some bad mistakes being made by players of both teams this afternoon, particularly the more experienced players. Graham scoops the ball out to the side. Gale gets a hurried kick down towards the half-forward line. Davison has too much pace for Talbot. He'll take it out, I'm sure. The boundary line used extensively in modern-day football. In fact, it's going to be a free kick to Davison.
Yes, Talbot threw him after he got rid of the ball. Well,
one of the less attractive aspects of our game, I think, the way the boundary line is used these days, but nevertheless, we're going to have a throw in now.
What about that situation like in basketball? Well, the last one to touch it, the other one gets a kick.
Yeah, I think there'd be some merit in it, don't you? I mean,
at least experimentally next pre-season, I'd reckon.
Well, I'd at least try and keep the ball in play more often than they do now, or more diligently, more sincerely than they do now. The ball is at half forward for East Perth. Can they get a late goal here? 25 minutes gone in the second quarter. It's moments remaining before half-time, and they're going to get the advantage of a free kick, which gives them the chance to set up yet another scoring opportunity.
It's Haskett again, been one of the stars for the Royals. That's a good pass too. Talbot lets him down though. Went through his hands as he dived forward. Narkle goes back to Bottrell, and out wide it's Worsfold. He runs to left half back and kicks to the members' wing, but not a good kick, and to nobody in particular really. Collard was out there, but he was covered. He's come to life in his second term, Cliff Collard with 2 goals. As Dugan and Graham do battle again, Dugan wins the tap, but shark there by East Perth. Booted upfield by Silcock. Chance here for Billy Cracker. He paddles it in front of his body. That was good football. He avoided the oncoming traffic in the shape of Walker. And now Bell's taken the mark and some treatment behind the ear. 6 possessions today to Peter Bell. He kicks to the members' wing. Begovic was sandwiched there. Pushed upfield by Collard, but again, it's over the white line.
Strong player, though, Begovic, isn't he, Trev?
Yes, and they do think a lot of him at South Fremantle, and with his kicking ability in particular, he covers 60 metres every time he kicks the football and uses it to the right place. I think he's got a future.
Nothing between these two sides at the moment here at Perth Oval. A bit of aerial ping-pong now. Dugan, tackled by Graham. Escaped somehow. And from Collins it came to Billy Cracker, and now Adrian Collard. Outside centre half forward, he chips and looks for Dorotich. Dorotich does well, used his body, but now he's caught by Perry, dumped and loses it in the tackle, and now deftly kicked out by Willison along the ground. Out there is East Perth, shoveled back and taken by Quillisic. Now Collard, Adrian Collard. Wooden's there with him, Perry, Bell. He pushes it out, taken now by Clint Johnston, and East Perth will get out of trouble.
They bring the ball towards the members' wing. Gee, that was indecisive football. There was no one out here. First to it will be Begovic. He's able to keep it in play. If they'd gone straight down the centre, they may well have been able to set something up. As it is, they've conceded possession. Wooten drives it in towards Dorotich. He's spoilt by Willison. It was a good spoil, in fact. This is Bell, pulled off his hand pass. East Perth fighting desperately in the dying minutes of this quarter, or this first half, and eventually Faithful runs it out of play. Well, they were determined not to concede the last goal in East Perth, but they really should have been on the attack. The throw-in is just inside South's 50-metre line. Left half forward, Dorotich gets it down well to Wooten. Wooten gets it to Bill Cracker and is penalised for a throw. The ball actually went through for a goal, and it's going to be a 50-metre penalty against Souths. because in the opinion of the umpire, Cracker knew exactly what the decision was to have been and played on unnecessarily. It's not the full 50 metres, but it will take East Perth into the centre square, almost into the centre circle. And the kick will be taken by Foster, taking some time for the ball to be retrieved. But there cannot be long remaining in this term. The clock showing 28.5 minutes, but time on has been blown here. So now, in fact, it's Johnston, who will kick the ball towards half forward. Here's the chance now for East Perth as Lyle kicks towards full forward. Atkins is spoilt by Walker. That was well done. In comes Miller. Gets the hand pass away. This is Talbot. There's no one in the square except Tommy Bottrell, and he takes the relieving mark. And he's content to hold things up for Souths. Clears the ball towards the members' wing, towards the grandstand wing. Dugan was up. The bounce of the ball beat Begovic, but Dugan did it cleverly. Good exchange to McKnight. Breaks the tackle, and now they're called to play on. Not a particularly good kick. It's taken back there by Mazurek for East Perth, and he comes to the members' wing again. Finds Faithful. The umpire anticipating that Faithful would take that mark. Pays the mark as the siren sounds. And at half-time, if nothing else, it's close. Souths are 8-1. East Perth is 7-6. The Bulldogs lead by a solitary point.
East Perth kicked 4 goals, 1, and South 3-1 in that second term. The Bulldogs go in at half-time, mainly because John Dorotich has been in great form in front of goals with 3, with this 1-point lead over the Royals, who've been very determined to put up a showing here this afternoon. Swans are leading West Perth, East Fremantle and Subiaco in a great battle there, and Claremont are clear leaders over the Demons at Lathlane Park this afternoon. Who've been some of your best players in this game so far, Trev? As we see Dorotich has kicked 3 and Miller 3. They've been the stars on the scoreboard, but who've been some of your best?
Well, for South Fremantle, I thought Billy Cracker has been very lively around the packs. Dorotich a big influence. Collins been busy on the centre wing and Bottrell on the other wing, giving South Fremantle an ascendancy across centre. Worsfold around the ground and Begovic in the centre of the ground has been a good player for them. For East Perth, Haskett's been good. He's actually Begovic as opponent, but they're playing wide of each other. Lyle and the half-forward Frank and Brooks Ruck Roving have been lively. Miller with his 3 goals. There's Marty Atkins having a great battle with Lee Walker and probably on top at the moment. Jackamel in the back line and Clint Johnston running the ball for East Perth has also played well for them.
Comments there from Trevor Sprigg. And we're starting a brand new competition here today too, our Family of the Day. Of course, this is the Family of the Year, and we're going to start it here this afternoon at Perth Oval. So look for that a little bit later on. Plenty of talking points in football too. We'll be discussing some of those after our half-time break. Now it's time for news and sport news. See you back in 15 minutes.
Simmons takes the spectacular mark. Well, he was rewarded for keeping his eyes on the ball.
By Capewell. That's a good snap. That is a sensational kick.
And we'll take you back for the second half of today's match in around 15 minutes' time. Shortly, our commentating family at Perth Oval and head of the household, Trevor Jenkins.
Thanks, Karen. Yes, today is the start of Family Week, and our competition on ABC will run for the next 2 weeks, and we'll be looking for the Family of the Day here at Perth Oval a little bit later on. Well, here in the game between the Royals and the Bulldogs, it's the Bulldogs by 1 point. The closeness of the scores is keeping this game interesting at the moment as South lead 8-1 to 7-6. Right now downstairs is the president of the East Perth Football Club, Ken Burnett, and here he is talking with Ashley Dillon.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Many clubs around the WAFL are looking to new and innovative ways of sort of repackaging the game, making it more appealing. And as Trevor said, Ken Burnett, the president of the East Perth Football Club, joins me this afternoon. Good afternoon, Ken.
Ashley.
Tell me, what have you done in regards of making the game that little bit more appealing?
Well, off the field, we've been working pretty hard in the last couple of years, looking at the future of football and the second AFL side come in, and we believe that our level of competition will be looking more towards night games, be it Friday, Saturday, Sunday or Monday games, and we're trying to lift our oval up to the level where we can play night games at our oval. And already we have a light pole on one side, and we've got a second pole going up in the next 5 weeks, and we find that it's very important, not only at our level of football and playing night football, but also to utilise the ground to its fullest capacity, both day and night. So we are working very hard to achieve that, and we'll see how things go in the future.
Okay.
Out in the fixturing.
What about the cost factor? Was it a problem for the club?
No, the council were very good, and through 1 and 2 of our directors, they worked very hard, and with the council, the Perth City Council, they assisted us in putting these lights up at their own cost through the council. We've got 2 of them up, as I said now, and it's up to us as a club to try and increase on that for another 2 poles and increasing our lighting on the grandstand. And I believe that we'll achieve that in the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, now what nights are you actually looking at fixturing WAFL games here?
Well, that's still got to be discussed at a football commission level and with the other clubs. Because first of all, we've got to wait till the AFL brings out their fixturing for 1995. When that fixturing then comes out, we can sit down as a total group of football body to assess the position, which would be total benefit to our competition. But until then, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, now I understand there's a 9 series sort of in the works as well. Once again, are you waiting on fixturing?
We're waiting on fixturing to see what happens there. It's one of those things that I think we have to experiment with, but I think we've got to do it properly and correctly and not just rush in to make our own plans to be sort of shot at the end of it. So we are working.
Okay, what about the way the club's performing on the field? Are you reasonably happy there?
Well, we're not happy on our win-loss situation, but as a club, as a board and the people around the club, we're very confident and happy with the people and the personnel that we have here, through our coaching staff and through our playing personnel. I think it's up to the players to get the confidence that they should have within themselves and also with their teammates. And when that really happens, I believe we've got the personnel to go a long way in this competition.
Ken, thanks very much for your time this afternoon. All the best.
Thanks, Ashley.
Ken Burnett, East Perth Club President. Back to you, Trevor.
Thank you, Ashley Dillon. Almost ready to get underway here. Mark Watson on the phone already. He really is battling for his survival, Trevor Sprigg, isn't he, with South Fremantle?
Yes, but I'm assured by President Rick Glody that he will be coaching the team right till the end of the season. TJ?
1 point in favour of the Bulldogs here. Noel Carter lending support in the coach's box. We're underway as Graham wins the first tap, missed by Walker. Haskett couldn't control it. Now Graham gets a second chance, but his kick blocked by Collins. Now picked up by Begovic. Worsfold. And on the overlap, South go forward off the boot there of Davison. Picked up by Bell. Kick smothered. Gwiliasic had it and lost it. Gets a hand pass in upfield. Taken now by Foster. He measures the hand pass into Brooks, who kicks to the members' wing. That's well weighted, and Gale takes a good mark. So the Royals mounting up a challenge here to kick the first score of this second half. But it's been held up by Deracourt. He repels the attack and boots to the members' wing. Good lead, and Collard has taken the mark short of right half forward.
Cliff Collard almost on the boundary line. Kicks the ball towards the 50-metre line. That's another well-weighted kick, and Dugan runs onto it. Draws the player, then gets the hand pass to Adrian Collard, who kicks to the top of the square. Good use of the ball by South from half-back. That started with Deracourt, and they went round in a semicircle almost from centre half-back to full forward. And Dorotic will shoot for goal from 35 metres out and directly in front. He's kicked 3 of South's 8. Peter Miller has kicked 3 of East Perth's 7. Dorotic has gone right back to the 50-metre line. He'll be exhausted if he runs up to the man on the mark to kick it, but he won't need to. And that is another good kick from John Dorotic. He started the day with 24 goals from the first 6 games of the season. He's now got his 4th, and South's moved to a 7-point lead. They've threatened to go away with this game a couple of times, Trevor, but each time East Perth have come back, haven't they?
Yes, they have. A good passage of play here, though, from South Fremantle, bringing the ball all the way down the ground, and good positioning there from Jared Dugan at centre-half forward, coming across the ground. The lateral movement is the difficult movement for a centre-half forward, but then an excellent kick from Adrian Collard, too, to square the ball off to the leading Dorotic on that occasion, and he's kept up his average of 4 goals per game this season.
Roger Perry back on him now, Trevor.
Interesting move, that.
Fisted there by Dugan, who's done some good things on the ball for South. But now a chance there for Brooks, who somehow got it to Haskett. He runs through the middle of the ground. Still he goes, Haskett. He made about 20 metres there and kicks into the pocket. Coulthard, almost the mark. He's on the ground for the first time. Knocked on by Deracourt. Chance out there for McKnight. He gets it upfield. Wootton at full stretch. Silcock, who got a hand pass out. Again, a pack develops over the footy, and the umpire will have to bounce that down. It's been a disappointing feature of the game, is the big packs that have been allowed to develop, and players just can't get the ball out. Graham beats Dugan that time. Taken by Dugan. He kicks up towards the wing. Foster chops it off, then hooks it across his body. Walker's in front of Atkins, destroyed by Atkins, knocked away from Coulthard. That was by Deracourt, and now Haskett gets it to Miller. And Miller kicks towards the top of the square, and a good mark taken by Lyle in front of Davison. And a chance here for East Perth's quick reply. 10 possessions today to young Lyle.
And dropping away very, very well there from his opponent. The back lead. It's a bit of a lost art in football these days.
He's asking where the mark was. The umpire has indicated where it is. And he chips a goal. And it's close. I think he's got it. No, one behind. Must have been close. Braden Lyle misses from a distance you'd expect him to kick a goal from, Trev.
Yes, really should have kicked that. He seems he's been useful in the forward line today. Started well on the right half forward flank, but he's still in that position, but just not quite so confident in the forward line as he is when the ball's in front of him in the back line.
Now Deracourt goes down the middle, picks out Worsfold. This is Collins from his own defensive 50. Kick lands in front of Walker and bounced away from him. East Perth through Willison. Gale dummies nicely around Griliasic. And plenty of Royals in the middle of the ground, including one of their best today in Haskett. He's been terrific.
Players streaming from the full back line. Haskett very indecisive. He elects to go that way now, and Collard may well foil this attempt. That was intended for Perry, but East Perth will be exposed in defence if they turn the ball over here. The hand pass going out in the direction of Adrian Collard. Now they can go to Wootton. Now they can go to Dorotic, who's 50 metres in the clear. Long kick to the 50-metre line. Now Bella's on his own in the square. This is shocking football by East Perth, and it will result in a goal to the Bulldogs. Well, Perry made the break from fullback. That was fine, but Haskett took about 7.5 minutes longer than he should have to get the ball in his direction. And they were then under enormous pressure. And this was almost inevitable. Bell from point-blank range gets South's 10th. They're 10-1, East Perth 7-7, and that would break a coach's heart.
Yeah, it's very disappointing indeed for East Perth there, and I guess really this player Collard was very important in that little passage of play, because he got back to cover Perry for John Dorotic, who just couldn't keep up, and there's Dorotic, who'd left Perry go 50 metres as Wally called, but then was very, very unselfish as he saw Bell getting into the goal square and passed it off, and he's kicked for himself, Dorotic, and has given that at least 2 away now.
And Peter Bell on the end of that. 61 plays 49. South have got a break. East Perth needs to answer the challenge now. This is Lyle. He runs into Worsfold and loses it. And didn't come out of that too well, Braden Lyle. The kick up to half forward. This is Adrian Collard. Over the top for Griliasic. With him is Willison. Clint Johnson lending support to Willison. Was he held? Not according to the umpire. Jackamel goes in fairly recklessly. And it's very tight inside the boundary, and now over the white line at left half forward for South Fremantle.
A couple of significant players today for South Fremantle, Trev, I think have been Tom Bottrell, has done a very good job against Stephen Lester and now sees him off the ground, and Marty Atkins has dulled the influence of Lee Walker.
Dugan wins the tap for South Fremantle against Graham. The ball's in there somewhere. It's Wootton on the bottom of the pack, and Nathan Brooks is 11 for East Perth. Fairly aggro.
Doesn't take much to get Nathan Brooks aggro, I can tell you.
No. I reckon a butterfly landing on his foot. Dugan, gee, he's got a good leap. Griliasic dispossessed by Willison. Jackamel gets a hand pass up, very untidy. Ballard had his marksman Silcock well and truly covered. Dorotic has it fisted away by Perry. Now it's Adrian Collard who runs into trouble and loses it to Jackamel, who goes around the corner, and Johnson lets it bounce over the line and out of bounds again.
East Perth haven't really picked up the tempo so far in this third term. 10-1 to 7-7. Souths have kicked 2 goals, and East Perth have added a solitary point. And it's taken away by Begovic now. He's only 55 metres from goal. He'll put some pressure on the defence here. In fact, he hit the post. He really is a powerful kick of the footy, as Trevor Sprigg mentioned during the first half. There's Mark Watson. He'd feel a little happier at the moment. Terrific kicking by Souths. 10 goals from 11 scoring shots. Sorry, 10 goals from 12 scoring shots now. Waiting on Perry to bring the ball back into play. He's not as decisive with this kick as he was with his lead up the outer side of the ground a moment ago, and now the umpire telling a few players to get out of the area. So we'll probably go through this again. Recruited from North Beach in the amateur competition, Perry. Ball close to the line out there. Haskett is under pressure. And eventually it's knocked across the line by Begovic again.
Not a great deal of system there, Trevor Sprigg.
No, dangerous play by Haskett, wasn't it? He kept the ball in play and then tried to get around his opponent.
It's Dugan and Graham. Dugan again wins the tap and brings it back to the back of the pack cleverly for Adrian Collard, who shoots, but he's offline.
He's playing with increasing confidence, Trev.
In his second game, Adrian Collard.
What about Dugan, Trev?
Yeah, looks much better in the ruck, doesn't he? And I did mention he played at centre-half forward. He does go into the centre-half forward position and acts as a centre-half forward, even though he's a ruckman, with Gulisic dropping back. And yes, he just looks so much better when he can ruck.
Now Foster kicks it back into play. That's better by East Perth. Willison outside his own defensive 50. That is the worst kick I've seen this year. He's kicked it into a pack of Bulldogs. They drive it up towards Dorodich, and holding his ground is Perry to take the safe and timely mark. And he swings it to the members' side. Now East Perth need to pick up the tempo here. Gale gets a hand pass to Johnson, good shepherding by Brooks. Johnson inboard. Now East Perth through Jackamel, run to the members' wing. The kick is for Miller, and he doesn't let his teammate down. Miller kicks towards centre-half forward, but Coulthard had his back to the play, and the mark has been taken by Deracourt.
Kick was about 10 metres short of what it needed to be. And as a result, Deracourt takes his third mark. Kicks back towards centre wing. Johnston, good mark. Away he goes. This is Miller. Miller just ahead of the centre square. Chips the ball towards half forward. Dempsey Narkle up. East Perth have the numbers now. Deracourt crashes in and levens things up a little bit. Coulthard from 30 metres out was met solidly by Narkle as he kicked. And Narkle's timing was precise. Minor score results. East Perth get it behind when they need goals. Mark Coulthard. Didn't see him in the first half. Deracourt about to bring the ball back into play. Nearly 11 minutes gone in this third quarter. East Perth haven't shown anywhere near enough as yet. Deracourt gets it well outside 50 metres. It slipped through Narkle's hands. Ballard's there. Another chance for East Perth now. Brooks, they need to do something decisive. Coulthard gets it to a teammate in Silcock, who kicks hurriedly towards full forward. Almost a good mark by Miller. Perhaps he was interfered with. He comes back, retrieves the ball, gets it to Walker, who in turn gets it to Lyle. And Lyle has kicked his second. Well, did they need that? They moved to 8-8 East Perth. Souths are 10-3, so they're still in touch. Only 7 points the margin now, but they need to get a little bit of momentum going.
Yes, they're battling for system, East Perth. They're working hard. This is the player, Peter Miller, who contested that mark with Tommy Bottrell, and he does then hand the ball off to Lee Walker, who in turn goes to Lyle for the goal. I think Peter Miller, if his fitness will stand it, I think he's the player they've got to come up into the middle of the ground, just for East Perth to get some clean ball out of the middle to give them their forwards a chance. The other scores, Swans and West Perth. West Perth coming back in that game, and Subiac on East Fremantle. They must have taken the shackles off there. It's a high-scoring game, and Claremont have got Perth beaten already.
And East Perth going to attack again. The kick up to half forward. Bad bounce there for the South Fremantle defender Bottrell, and now picked up by Atkins though. He's the sweeper. He kicks towards the members' wing. Wooten and Johnston get tangled up. Johnston wins the battle. He kicks to half forward. Walker and Atkins, they both miss it. This is McKnight fumbling. That could be costly. Miller's got it now. He gets a hand pass up the field to Coulthard. And now Mazurek from 35 metres. That's a good kick. And the Royals are back in business. And once again, the margin is back to 1 point as it was at half-time, Trevor.
Yes, and Paul Mazurak there, a former South Fremantle player, really enjoyed that goal. He's done a pretty good job today and was able to swoop on the loose ball going forward. And one thing you can say for East Perth, they don't give the game away. They're 15 points out just a few minutes ago, or 13 points out, and South Fremantle threatening, but much to their credit, Nick Caputi going to come back on the ground. Much to their credit, East Perth keep their noses to the wheel and keep going.
We've got the close one of the day, Wal.
Yeah, so we're back to where we were at half-time. As Dugan gets a decisive ruck knock down to Cliff Collard, but his hand pass was ineffective. Gale sweeps it to Willison. Willison is at left centre wing, down towards half forward. At the back, it's Miller. He's very clever from behind. We saw that earlier today. Taken now by Bottrell. Souths can break this up. High kick towards the half-back flank. Ballard is after it. Silcock is after him. In comes Graham to lend support. Gee, they've got numbers everywhere, but Faithful took a long time. This is Graham again. He gets the ball inside 50 metres. East Perth have really picked up the tempo now. South's under pressure. They stand up well. This is Worsfold. Clears the ball towards the members' wing. It's all East Perth out here if it stays in play, and it does. This is Gale. He's trying to draw the player in Collins. Pops it over to Brooks. Here's Willison again. He moves towards half forward. Puts the foot pass down in the direction of Walker. Spoilt by Atkins. Chance at the side of the pack for Talbot. He goes towards full forward. It's 3-on-2. Souths have the numbers. Chance for East Perth now. In goes Miller. He can't control it. It's picked up by Lyle. He's pulled off it. In comes Worsfold. Poor hand pass. Put a teammate under immense pressure. Atkins is there. East Perth trying to lock it in the forward line, and they've done just that. They earned the plaudits of their home crowd here at Perth Oval for their endeavour in that passage of play. They need a little bit of science now, a little bit of skill to notch a major score out of this sortie forward.
John Derricourt coming off the ground. I thought he's been a strong defender today, and he hasn't made any mistakes, and he's shaking his head too.
Worsfold kicks high to the half-back line. Ballard is able to spoil. Boy, that was pretty solid. The East Perth player was Silcock, who was met front on
by former East Perth player Bruce McKnight, I think.
Yeah. So Silcock will kick from just outside the half-forward line. Now, they don't have too many tall forwards other than Walker, so he's gone for a different option, and it's come off. That's Lyle. No play on the call. Comes back to Silcock. Kicks high. To whom? Off they go in pursuit of the ball, and South's lead from most directions. Davison will take it over in front of Mead.
Davison's over.
Well, I think he sort of forced himself into that to an extent, perhaps looking for the kick.
Gee, Derricourt didn't look too happy, Trev.
No, I think he's been a good defender and showed good composure. He is prone to making an error, but I haven't noticed an error today from Derricourt.
Shaking his head noticeably as he went off. This is Griliasic now for South. Could have been kicking in danger there by Mazurek. It squirts out now towards Bell. He's still on the half-back flank for South Fremantle. Dugan's out there, didn't go for it. Adrian Collard tried to shovel it out to Begovic, and he's hurt in that exchange. As East Perth again work it towards Jackamel. Now, where do I go, he says. He kicks inside centre half forward. Talbot in front of Dempsey Narkle. Miller, beautifully rove, kicks a goal but misses. No, he's put it through. It's gone the right side of the post. 4 goals to Peter Miller. And East Perth go to 10-8. They lead South Fremantle 10-3. And this has been a very important passage of play for the Royals.
Yes, they've been really trying hard in the last 10 minutes of play. Here's the ball coming in with young Jackamel. And he was undecided what to do, but Miller has just been terrific. There he's leading Tommy Bottrell in a merry dance, showing his teammates the way to go. And, gee, I'm not sure if that went through the big opening.
It didn't look like it.
No.
10-8 to 10-3. East Perth are back in front. This is Dugan. He'll drive Souths forward long and high. Dorotic will be the target. Perry up behind. Dorotic under the ball. Woodman caught. Play allowed to go on. Chance now for Jackamel to break it up. The youngest man on the ground, just 17 years of age. And East Perth do it well out of defence. The ball is cleared towards the members' wing. Gale has it and keeps it in play. No, he doesn't. He took it out with Collins in hot pursuit. The throw-in is between right centre wing and right half forward for Souths. Gee, you have to admire East Perth's tenacity. 2 or 3 times during the course of this game, they look as though they're getting out of their depth. Each time they've come back. Now Souths are responding to their credit. Here's Begovic, who was down injured a short time ago. Dorotic has won out with Perry. Dorotic will get the free kick anyway. Little that Perry could do. He's got a big man to contend with. He's giving away height and weight.
Brett Spinks there.
Yes, Brett Spinks on the bench talking to John Dericourt. And now Dorotic lines up for what will be his fifth. He'll kick from about 40 metres out, directly in front. Unlikely to miss. Souths are back in front. 5 to Dorotic, 5 of their 11. 11-3 to 10-8. Exciting tussle here at Perth Oval.
Yes, the steadying influence there, the steadying goal. Peter Worsfold involved in that with a long hand pass, a searching hand pass that came to Begovic. And then you can see Dorotic's use of the body in that long shot there. There is little Perry could do, as well called. And Dorotic and Peter Miller now having a personal shootout as far as goals are concerned. 5 to Dorotic, 4 to Miller.
Bit of difference in size and weight, Trev.
Yes.
Like you and me. Up goes Dugan with Graham again, socket by Collard. Chance here for Billy Cracker. In pursuit, Foster. Now this is Peter Worsfold. He gets away from Lyle and kicks towards centre half forward. Bell in front, good mark. Mazurek behind, but good safe hands to Peter Bell. He chips and Worsfold gets into the space, going down the centre corridor. And he's marked inside 50, so another good chance here for the Bulldogs. They lead by 1 point. They led by that margin at half-time. And 19 possessions to Peter Worsfold would make him one of the best on the ground as Karate prepares to come back on. But this is Peter Worsfold. Drop punt on the way is fading away to the left and one behind only. So let off there for East Perth. Almost 20 minutes gone now in this third term. Here's Peter Worsfold. Back from Brisbane this year to play with South Fremantle. As Foster puts it into play, good lead by Lyle. In front of Dugan. Played a good game for East Perth, Braden Lyle. He kicks to the half-back flank. Ballard over the top of Silcock. Brooks got a call from Mazurek. Good football from in front of the scoreboard. He kicks to half forward. Coulthard misses the mark. Walker gets it on. With him is Atkins. Now Gale. Atkins shows courage there. Dived in on top of it. Gets a hand pass away, but Brooks sharks it. Taken now by East Perth's faithful. He kicks to the top of the square. Narkle should mark, and does.
That was a very poor kick. Narkle relieves the pressure towards the half-back line. Good mark to Caputi. He could have gone on. Willison had run well beyond the mark. He kicks long now towards centre wing. Adrian Collard not able to get there. East Perth under pressure. They choose to keep it in play. Foster has it. He gets it back to Jackamel. In turn gets a hurried kick. Floats it towards centre wing. Good tussle there between Bell and Lester. It's taken by Mazurek. Kick lacks depth. East Perth making some mistakes now. I hope they're not tiring. The kick goes back towards centre wing. Knocked forward by Dugan. Chance for Brooks. This is Willison. He can't get it clear. Souths have the numbers now. Worsfold has the ball. He goes towards the boundary line. Davison makes sure it goes over. Now he gets the kick for a push in the back.
What do you think, Trev?
Courageous decision to give in front of the East Perth members stand, I'd say, TJ.
Mightn't have given it 20 years ago, Trev. It's only a third fall today.
It was a free kick. The free kick was there.
Yeah. Davison short and finds Worsfold. Peter Worsfold just behind the centre line. Souths lead by 2 points. And we've played nearly 22 minutes in this third quarter. Almost the mark to Caputi. Brooks ran straight into the Cliff Collard tackle. Low percentage football by Brooks. Foster across the face of the ground where Lyle is unattended. He'll go in the Coulthard direction. They need a good kick, and that was a shocker. Coulthard should have done better, though. Grulisic is given a chance now. Chips it down the downfield. Opportunity for Karate. He kicks inside 50 metres for South, and Dorotic marks with consummate ease. Well, East Perth can only blame themselves. Poor disposal on the outer side of the ground, turned the ball over, and as a result, Dorotic is shooting for his 6th, South's 12th, and an 8-point lead. 45-degree angle, 45 metres from goal. And he's missed.
Well, John Dorotich misses for South. There's a few not missing up at Joondalup up today for West Perth, judging by the third quarter, Trev.
Yes, they've come right back into it there, the Falcons, haven't they? And Serbia and East Fremantle, just a couple of goals in it there.
I think Clermont will beat Perth.
I'd like to be on them.
Yeah. This is chipped into the pocket for Bell. He's 50 metres out. There's leads everywhere. He's going to ignore them, though. But not the one from Dorotich. Look at this. He's killing Perry.
But where was Clint Johnson? He just jogged instead of getting into that position,
Yes.
that space.
But Perry can't match Dorotich in any department at the moment. And this should be number 6, although we thought that with his last kick, I suppose. 10 possessions for the big man today.
I think the big fella gets a bit tired as the game goes on too, and you'll find that the kick here from about 45 is going to test him out. He'll get the distance, but...
Can I get on?
Yeah.
Not a lot of conviction in that, Trev.
An even 1,000 with you, Trev. It's not a bad kick coming back. And it's a goal. There goes Trevor Spriggs' 1,000 that he won on the races today. Straight into my Lucy Lockett, Trevi. Well done, son.
Will you take a check?
There'd be room for it in there too.
I certainly wouldn't take a check. So Dorotich has got 6. And South Fremantle now go to 12-5, 77. East Perth at 10-8, 68.
They're still 9 points in it only, and the one bloke that stands between East Perth and victory is that big fella with 6 goals, John Dorotich.
9 points, as Trevor Spriggs said. Graham wins the ruck knock, but Collard wins the kick. Towards half forward, Caputi knocks it on. Comes back to Caputi. Here we go again. Dorotich versus Perry on the goal line. Perry did well. He's forced it through. Perhaps should have marked it, but he'd be happy with that result.
Gets a kick anyway, Walt.
He does. Concedes the point.
You might need Perry Mason before the day's out.
These Perth players breaking to the outer side of the ground. That's the way the kick's gone. Dugan was up. It comes down to Foster. He kicks towards half forward. Wheatley the lead out there, and the mark not paid. They're the little things that East Perth need to complete, the little tasks.
Yes, Rod Wheatley's skills today have been down, and I think that might be a symptom of the fact that he started late because of cricket. Well,
so the throw-in is between right centre wing and right half forward for East Perth. Graham gets to the front and gets the ball down to Wheatley. Hand pass infield is a good one, but again a mistake from Haskett. He needed 2 grabs, and East Perth have to be satisfied with a bounce. If he'd been able to first time it,
It's gone a little
they
bit
would have
quiet
been on
this
their
quarter.
way.
Gone a little bit quiet this quarter, Trev.
yes, he has. I think he had something like 14 possessions till half-time, now only 2 more.
10 points the margin, late in the third term. Chance for South to clear it. Lyle went in and tied things up. Begovic has it, now Griliusic. And the kick onto centre wing has found Bill Cracker. He cruises infield, gets the ball out of danger and into attack, but it's marked by Mazurek. Just not much happening for East Perth at the moment. Short kick, very short. In fact, it's to a man behind the mark. This is Perry. He kicks to centre wing. Walker was the target. Back goes Atkins. Walker has him, but he shrugs him off. Sends the hand pass out onto the half-forward line and Collins. Out onto the boundary line and Collins, who goes down towards Adrian Collard, and he has taken the mark 55 metres from goal. Gets it on quickly. Dorotich holding Perry out. Oh, he'll be disappointed with that. Wootton, hand pass was poor. Dorotich lunges at the ball. Chance now for Worsfold. South's trying for this late goal. Bell on an open goal has kicked it. Souths have got their 13th. They're 13-6. Bell has 2 of the 13. East Perth at 10-8. And the margin now is out to 16 points.
Yeah, terrific goal from Peter Bell here, and you can see the desperation in the South Fremantle forwards. It's something they haven't been showing. Look at the dive by Dorotich, just to keep the ball in play is all he could have done. But now watch this snap from Peter Bell on the left foot. Magnificent snap from the little rover. Forced to play a role today, and he's pretty happy with that. Forced to play a role today as the other tall forward, and he's done it pretty well across the half-forward line.
Well, East Perth need to score a goal before three-quarter time. They've moved Walker too, Trev. Might like to... No, they haven't moved him.
Well, Atkins has done a very good job against Walker today because he's the key to the East Perth forward line, Lee Walker.
Got to get him into the game, don't they, somehow?
It wouldn't hurt to give him a run on the ball, but I guess that would mean Richard Graham would have to come off the ground.
Yeah. Dugan beaten by Richard Graham that time. Good fist towards centre half forward. Lyle sockers it away from Ballard. Chance here for Atkins. His fresh air shot has been picked up now by Silcock. He lost it. Back comes Atkins as the siren sounds on what was a very interesting quarter. But South Fremantle have surged clear now. They lead 13-6-84 to 10-8-68. Now, we've been watching the progress of the game of the day at the arena, and West Perth have taken a 10-point lead now over Swan Districts. Subiaco lead East Fremantle, and Claremont far too good for Perth. Well, South Fremantle have surged away here, Trevor. Dorotich with 6. He really has been the focal point, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. And they just need to get the ball up to Dorotich, and they try and do that quickly. And as I mentioned, young Bell has done an exceptionally good job across half forward. There's Mark Watson. They've played two tall forwards today most of the time. At some stages, Rod Grillisic's played centre half forward. So there's been a big task for those smaller forwards just to assist Dorotich, who's been very, very good in the air with something like 9 marks. And Mark Watson there is a little happier, I think, that he's been in this position most weeks of this Pepsi Cup season. As far as the stats are concerned there, South Fremantle getting away on that situation. 22 more kicks now, but 15 less handballs. I think they've used the ball better. The hit-outs are exactly equal. So Richard Graham, the sole ruckman for East Perth against Caputi and Dugan, doing a very good job. The frees 11-10, despite what the East Perth supporters in this grandstand think. They've actually finished in front. They're in front so far anyway.
It's a low number of free kicks in the game, isn't it, really?
I like to see that, though, TJ. You know, if that's the sort of game, just let the game go. They have actually picked out a couple of, you know, bad free kicks today, but, you know, I like to see the game flowing.
Let's have a look at the way the game's unfolded. You can see it's been very even, only a point the difference at half-time. And now South Fremantle have kicked 5 goals in that third quarter to open up a break over East Perth. So we'll need the Royals to come back strongly in this last term. They'll need the first goal of the last quarter to get back, otherwise this game could easily slip away. The Bulldogs hungry for success with only 1 win before today, and they'll be throwing everything into this last term against East Perth. Let's have a look now at our competition today. Tomorrow is International Family Day, the start of Family Week. And we think one of the best things you can do is bring your family for a few hours to the football. There are many families enjoying themselves here today at Perth Oval, and the Department of Community Development has asked our cameras to select our family of the day, and there they are. And all they have to do is telephone 222-2601 on Monday, identify themselves, and they've won a host of prizes, including family passes to SciTech, the Perth Zoo and Underwater World, a 12-pack of your favourite soft drink, Year of the Family balloons, stickers and posters, and an ABC pack. So that's our family of the day, and all they have to do is telephone 222-2601 on Monday. If you recognise them, tell them about it, and they're our family of the day in this Year of the Family.
Hate to tell you, Trev, but none of them are related.
Aren't they? You're a very nasty man, Bob. Okay, well, there's plenty of faces in the crowd that are familiar. He could be one day, but Hans Verstegen, our former East Perth star, is downstairs with Ashley Dillon. What's he doing these days, Ash?
I'm about to find out. Thank you very much, Trev. Yes, Hans Verstegen, one of the characters around the East Perth club rooms, played 204 games between 67 and 77. Hans, what do you do these days?
Yeah, well, basically a family man. I had a son who was Down syndrome, and spent a lot of time to try and get him to be independent and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been a long road for the last 15 years. He's now 20, and he comes to the football games, and he shows his independence because he's always away from me and looking after himself. Yeah.
Fantastic. So obviously that's limited to the amount that you've been able to put back into East Perth. For obvious reasons.
Well, that's right. I'm a bit disappointed myself, because I think I had a lot to offer back to football, but because of my situation, I think my family comes first. I had a lot of good years with East Perth, and had a lot of good trips and good, good times with the Brownie era sort of thing. But at the moment, yeah, my family comes first. Yes.
Okay. What about your playing days? What about highlights? Reminisce for me.
Well, I'd say the 1972 grand final after 13 years was fantastic. We were bridesmaids for quite a few years. 1972 was really great. You can't express a grand final until it's really brilliant. Fantastic.
Well, congratulations on what was a very successful career. Back to the action here for the fourth tomb. Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks very much, Ashley. Hans Verstegen there with Ashley Dillon, our face in the crowd here at Perth Oval. The Bulldogs break. East Perth will do likewise in a moment. And Trevor Spriggs, there's been a lot of talk this week about the incident last weekend in Sydney with Tony Lockett suspended for 8 weeks after, well, running into Peter Caven of the Sydney Swans. There's been a lot of silly comment being made. What were your thoughts about the incident?
Well, in some ways, I suppose he had to get some sort of penalty, TJ, but I think perhaps he was just a little bit unlucky. He was on a long lead anyway. The collision was inevitable. Something had to happen. I can't condone the fact that he put up the elbow reasonably high, of course, so therefore there has to be some sort of penalty. I just wonder, however, had it have been perhaps a lesser-known player and maybe the nose wasn't broken, I wonder if the situation is different then. I wonder if there are degrees of penalty for certain players as against other ones.
We talk about families being involved in football. What would you think about families that are watching that game and seeing the incident involving Lockett and Caven regarding their son playing football in the future?
Oh, well, I think, parents are often terrified about what's going to happen to, anybody that participates in sport, but you can't predict that. You can't think it's going to happen, TJ. It's, there's no more violence in Australian rules than any other contact game.
Thanks, Trevor. Trevor Sprigg with his thoughts on what has been a fairly ugly incident in league football over the last 7 days. Well, can East Perth come back here, Spriggy?
Yeah, I think they will. They'll get back to South Fremantle again, as they've done earlier in the game a couple of times, but whether they can sustain it, I think maybe South can hang on and win.
South start the final term leading by 16 points. They'll kick to the left of your screen in this final quarter, and it's Richard Graham who wins a decisive ruck knock, but it's taken by Davison for South, and he spears it up to half forward, where Bill Cracker takes a very good mark. That was a strong mark. Looks towards full forward and Dorotich. The kick has too much carry, but Adrian Collard anticipated that well and just slipped in behind Dorotich and Perry, his opponent, and has taken the mark within kicking distance. He's got progressively better throughout this game, Adrian Collard. Recruited from Northampton, and he may have just sneaked that through. He has, so that makes the margin 22 points. And that's certainly not the goal that East Perth would have been hoping for in the opening minutes of this term.
Well, I guess if you're in that situation, Robert Solomon would have been asking East Perth for the first goal. And it was very, very clever situation from Adrian Collard. 14 possessions today in his second game of league football. He's got an awkward kicking style where he drops the ball in very close to his body and kicks it high. But certainly shows some potential, Adrian Collard. But that's a good start for South Fremantle now. They won't want to relax against East Perth. But I think they can hang on and win, as I mentioned before.
He's very similar in looks to a former South Fremantle player. I just can't think of his name for the moment.
Willie Rowe?
Was it Willie Rowe or Cocky? One of those that...
maybe Michael Cocky,
yeah, perhaps, yeah.
Well, that kick was blocked by Karate. Graham blocked it. Now pushed out towards Davison. He's tackled by Brooks and loses it. Collard off the ground. Kicks to half forward. Coming to meet it there was East Perth's Willison. Now comes to Begovic and on to Billy Cracker. He goes back inboard, unnecessary hand pass, looking for Adrian Collard. Now Dorotich, his hand pass sharp by Miller. He's now on the ball. There's a good kick back to the middle of the ground. Lyle wrong foots an opponent and kicks towards centre half forward. Up goes East Perth's Talbot. It's knocked away from him and now taken by Bottrell. Haskett in pursuit, but Bottrell gets his kick in inside centre half forward, and Adrian Collard is marked again. And he chips it short, but it lands with Miller. Now Miller uses the ball effectively again, and Gale runs onto it on the outer side of the ground. He's got a bit of space and time, and brings it inboard, and the mark has been taken by Wheatley. Rod Wheatley outside half forward. Kicks towards centre half forward. Talbot's there, fisted away by Dempsey Narkle. Taken by Worsfold. Hand pass for Atkins. Haskett in pursuit, but Atkins gets his kick in. Collard again has it taken away from him by Matcharek. It finished up with South, and now it comes back to Griliasic. That came from Bell, and the kick towards half forward. Caputi takes a good mark in front of Willison.
He's at right half forward, just behind the half forward line. Looks towards full forward, and there's a holding decision back here. Roger Perry, frustrated by Dorotич's size, acting outside the rules of the game in trying to retard him, and the umpire was right on the scene, and Dorotich will shoot for his 7th goal. And if he's able to convert here, then East Perth's task, I would think, would be just too big. He's kicked 6. He's shooting from about 40 metres out, and he has made no mistake, John Dorotich. He's had a very significant impact on WAFL football since returning this season. 7 goals so far in this game, 31 for the season. So he's pushing his average up towards 5 a game.
Yes, well, John Dorotich there is just too big and strong. Interesting at the other grounds now with Swanderchicks again in front of West Perth, and Subiaco kicking 3 goals in front of East Fremantle there, so there still could well be a contest. Subiaco don't go well at East Fremantle Oval, but they have a good chance of winning there today, and Claremont certainly will win against the Demons.
It'll be 3 in a row for the Sharks if they lost, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Someone said Claremont would have to watch out because they might be complacent. I hope for Perth's sake they haven't been.
No, I don't think so. In the middle of the ground.
That $1,000 to bag off TJ if they go through undefeated, Claremont.
Ballard kicks to centre half forward. Working hard in the pack there is Karate, and so is Willison, who gets it towards Foster. Jackamel it was. His hand pass was smothered. Graham pushes it out, but it's taken by Cliff Collard. He measures the hand pass to Billy Cracker. Billy Cracker runs away inside 50, kicks it goal and puts it through. The Royals' crown has been jostled to the side of their head at the start of this quarter, and the Bulldogs look pretty good at the moment for win number 2 of the season.
Yes, well, they've really started off well in this quarter. South Fremantle, though, must have been revved up. This is Billy Cracker, who was very good early in the game, but then was a little quiet in the mid area, but just rifled that one for his 2nd goal, and South Fremantle starting off very, very quickly indeed with 3 goals in just 3 or 4 minutes of play in this last quarter.
Well, the margin was 16 points at 3/4 time, and we were looking forward to a real contest. Suddenly it's 34 points. And here goes Souths again through Karate towards half forward. Caputi got an unfortunate bounce, taken by Willison, who's not out of the woods yet, nor is Foster. He's caught by Cracker. It comes to Faithful. Now they're a chance to do something, and the clearing kick will go around the outer side of the ground, up towards centre wing. Lyle at the back of the pack has a chance to set something up for East Perth. Kick lacked depth. Oh, Bottrell did pretty well. This is Atkins. Knocks it wide of the pack. Chance for McKnight. Pushed off the kick by Haskett. He's close to the line out there, as you can see. Brings it back to the 50-metre line. The ball, clean ball, Talbot. Walker it was on the ground. Talbot in the thick of things now. This is Silcock. East Perth just not able to do anything constructive. Eventually, with strength, the ball is kicked towards centre half, towards full forward. Griliasic is back there. He's outnumbered, but now he's got some support from Dempsey Narkle. Fairly risky sort of a player back there, Dempsey Narkle, but Souths have maintained possession. Brooks appeared to push Worsfold. Worsfold grovels at ground level and gets the ball wide of the pack. Opportunity for Leicester. And now East Perth have the chance to do something. Graham goes to centre half forward. Still their skill level is so poor that they haven't been able to kick a ball that can be marked. Miller decides to take matters into his own hand and kicks the goal. But gee, what a lot of messing around to get that. That's 5 to Peter Miller. The ball was knocked and slapped across the turf from one side of the ground to the other. And as I said, Miller eventually decided to do something about it.
Well, I guess it's a reward for positive mental attitude, isn't it? And I think Wally called it exactly right. Peter Miller said, well, no one else is handling this ball cleanly, so I'm going to go by myself. He does tend to run with the ball a fair bit, Peter Miller. But the little captain has really tried to inspire his teammates today. He's kicked 5 goals and not been able to match John Dorotich at the other end with 7. But East Perth will still come back into this a little bit, but I don't think they'll be able to catch the Bulldogs.
Back in the middle of the ground, Dugan again beats Graham in the middle. And the umpire is calling for it. Davison off and limping noticeably. Do you attend to your car, Bob?
I can't afford one of them.
Car. Graham beats Dugan easily that time. Wooden scrambles the kick. Brooks goes without it. Collard feeds Bell. And the Bulldogs are on the move again. Billy Cracker in front of Faithful. He really has sprung to life, this elusive forward, as he shoots at goal, but he's offline a bit narrow with the kick. And 1 point the result.
Good value today, South Fremantle, from their players that played in that forward pocket. Collard kicked a couple of goals, Crackers kicked a couple, and Billy's enjoying himself out there.
Actually showing a little animation for a change, wasn't he?
Yes.
Foster brings it back into play. Perry's there for East Perth. With him is Cliff Collard. Ballard the crumbs. This is Begovic. He kicks it towards the top of the square. Dorotich waiting behind Foster, who misjudged it badly. And this is number 8 coming up.
I think the big fella was just about rooted to the spot there. He couldn't move. He was so tired. The ball's fallen in his arms.
Watson happier. Dorotich shooting for number 8. And it's straight, I think. Yes, full points to John Dorotich and South Fremantle. 8 goals to the full forward. 32 for the season.
Still urging his teammates on there, John Dorotich. The ball come out there from the kick into play. Ballard, who has been on and off the ground, but Begovic with that long kick as we talked about. And there's John Dorotich, just about dropped it as well, but was able to finally wrap it up. 10 marks, 8 goals, terrific performance.
35 points the margin. All taking a long time to come back. And I think this quarter could take a long time to come to an end.
So 2 points the difference there with Swan Districts in front of the Falcons. And Subiaco 3 goals, or 21 points in front of East Fremantle.
17-7 to 11-8 here at Perth Oval. Terrific kicking by Souths as Karate tries to get them forward again. The ball jars free from Begovic and was taken by Gale towards half forward for East Perth. Atkins is there. He overran it, gives Wheatley a chance. He gets it to Brooks. Talbot offers the lead. Haskett chips in, and Haskett takes the mark. He'll shoot from just inside 50 metres. He's kicked 2 so far this afternoon, Lloyd Haskett. The important factor here will be how East Perth play out this game. If they capitulate, it could really be the end of their season. It's a good kick. Just clears Marty Atkins, who was trying to get over the top of Lee Walker. And so 3 now to Haskett. And East Perth pull 1 back. They're really going to, they need, from the team's point of view, to play this game out, don't they, Trev?
Yes, and I think they will, because East Perth have got nothing if not spirit. There's Wheatley being involved in this passage of play, getting it back to Brooks. But a couple of those midfielders for East Perth have just gone out of the game in the second half. This guy's won, despite his 3 goals, Lloyd Haskett. He's now in the forward pocket, allowing Miller to go up on the ball, but really hasn't been sighted since half-time.
Graham and Dugan do battle again in the middle of the ground. Dugan wins the tap. Off Karati's knees, it comes towards Worsfold, and now Collins thumps it towards full forward. Adrian Collard in front of Jacobel has taken a good mark. He really has matured in this game. Good leap.
Yes, off the 2 feet on that occasion.
15 possessions to him today now, Trev.
Yeah, good effort.
He kicks from just inside 50 and he's hooked it. And I think he's missed. Well, Foster's got his own little match going on in the back pocket here. He kicks towards the members' wing. Lester's behind. Up he goes over the top there of Karate. Swooping in is Jackamel. Beaten for it by Lester. He gets it to Brooks. He pumps it upfield. Not a good hand pass. Missed by Gale. Adrian Collard again. He keeps it in the field of play. And behind it's Mazurek who gets a hand to it. Bell was in front. And again, it's a boundary throw in.
Paul Mazurek can be fairly happy with his game against his old team today, I reckon.
14 possessions. Caputi with Edwards from the side. Adrian Collard knocked on by Cliff Collard. Shoved out by Edwards. Miller gives it to Brooks. He gets around Cliff Collard and kicks towards centre half back, and the mark taken there by Faithful. This is Mazurek. Runs his full distance. Wobbles it towards the wing on the members' side. Walker and Atkins both overrun it. Picked up by East Perth, but he was pushed in the back. And who's that on the ground there, Trev? Oh, Wheatley. And he goes out to half forward and finds Lester. Good-looking drop punt by Lester. Chance here for Lyle in the pocket, spoilt by Dempsey Narkle. Still it's Lyle. Gets a hand pass to Talbot. Talbot to Haskett. Haskett kicked their last goal. Brings it back nicely. And that's his 4th goal of the game, Lloyd Haskett. Went quiet in the 3rd quarter, but has come to life again in this last term.
Yes, well, getting back within 24 points now, East Perth, and Lloyd Haskett there running towards his teammates and encouraging them. Pretty good goal, this. The hand pass comes out and Haskett's on his correct kicking foot. Was nice and cool as he had a quick glance at the goals on that occasion.
Well, the next goal will be the important one. If East Perth could kick it, perhaps there is still hope for them. They need to work hard.
Well done.
Johnston to Miller, and he will try and go all the way, I would think. Gets the hand pass to Walker, who's just inside 50 metres. Terrible kick by Lee Walker. It didn't have the depth, it didn't have the direction. And it's Narkle who marks. So that may well be a wasted opportunity. Gale just can't quite get to that ball. And as a result, Souths run the ball to half forward. Adrian Collard at the back, but well done back there by Jackamel. Sweeps the hand pass to the half-back line. East Perth have the numbers here. Brooks gets it off to Foster. Foster towards centre wing. Good kick to Miller. There's still life left in the East Perth legs at the moment. Miller's in trouble, running into his own man, who's run down and has kicked it straight to Dempsey Narkle again. Peter Miller just trying to do a little too much at the moment. The clearing kick is a good one. It lands with Bill Cracker. They've got players loose on the wing now, and Cracker spotted Worsfold. Got plenty of time to recover that. This is Collins. Souths are at half forward. Dorotich and Perry. Dorotich is cruising back to the goal square, but fortunately for East Perth, it landed with Foster. Now they can set something up again. They go through the centre square. Mazurek has it. Talbot wants it. Good kick. Talbot, I think, is just too far out to score. He hasn't kicked a goal so far this afternoon. In fact, I think his confidence has been down since he dropped a couple of easy marks and missed a couple of easy goals in the first quarter. That was a long kick, but just offline at a time when East Perth need goals. Nearly 16 minutes gone in this final term. Souths have a very commanding lead, but East Perth have kicked the last two.
So it's Marty Atkins with the job of bringing it back into play for the Southerners. He goes to the members' side of the ground. Target is Dugan. Misjudged the flight, taken by Brooks. This is Clint Johnston from just inside 50. Good kick. On its way, close. Wait a minute, I think he's got it. Yes. Well, there's still some fight in the Royals yet. And South may have just been cruising, Trev. And all of a sudden, East Perth have bitten back strongly here to reduce this lead to 17 points.
Yes, well, it's just about back to status quo as it was at three-quarter time. It was 16 points then, and we did say that East Perth would keep going. And Clint Johnston's been a pretty good player for them today. A little quiet in the third quarter like some of his teammates, playing against Grant Wooten, but has done quite well on that occasion.
Yes, that was a very good goal. Now there's been a centre square infringement.
Well, that's bad for East Perth.
It goes to Dugan. Dugan's drop punt travels about 55 metres. Adrian Collard from behind. Caputi in front, though, has got the mark.
Oh, look at Bell.
Floating down into the pocket. He's seen him, but Doritis is on a lead too, but Perry fists away. Taken by Adrian Collard. His kick towards the top of the square. Lester's there and misses the mark, but gets the free kick. Lester's got the kick. South
and that should be 50, I reckon. Or 25 they use these days.
It's a friendly discussion.
Let's watch this. Peter Bell kicking the ball away, kicking the goal in fact, but clearly a free kick there.
Now this is Edwards for East Perth. Short of right half back. 17 points in favour of the Bulldogs. A kick to the members' wing. Edwards and Atkins, and from behind Griliasic. Well judged mark. Rod Griliasic back in the side today. A veteran for South Fremantle. Kicks towards half forward. Up they go, and Adrian Collard has been awarded the mark. Sandwich between Graham and Foster. He goes square. Billy Cracker's there. So is Haskett. He's got support from Collins, who measures the kick from 35. And I think he's got it. Yes, 4 points. And that could be the sealer as Collins and Haskett get tangled up at centre half forward.
Yes, Mark Collins there, the East Perth boys really wanting to have something to say about it, but there's not much they can do now. The goal's on the board. And one of the players that kicks the ball well, Mark Collins. And this is the young Adrian Collard. We've sung his praises during the game. He's relatively small, about 5'11", but has to play the role of a big man on that occasion, taking the mark between two East Perth players, including the ruckman, then Billy Cracker getting the hand pass to Mark Collins for what I consider to be the sealing goal.
The margin back to 23 points. There's probably time if East Perth are good enough, but I don't think they've got the energy. Almost at the time on point of this final quarter. The hand pass from Collard is chopped off by Faithful. Good shepherd provided by Brooks, I think it was, and then Faithful kicks into the man on the mark and the man in front of him, and perhaps that illustrates what I was saying about East Perth's apparent tiredness. They've played with great heart, but they're under pressure. Andrew Cracker's hand pass was a good one to Dugan. Dugan to half forward. Caputi can't mark. Adrian Collard's in there. He's been in just about everything this quarter. And we're going to have a bounce at left half forward for Souths.
Another terrible mistake by Steve Lester. He's had a horrible day, Trevor.
Yes, he has. He was beaten pointless by Tom Bottrell in the first half, and I think he may be carrying an injury, Stephen Lester. He just hasn't been himself today.
Broken leg.
Well, he was very timid in his approach to that last football. He just didn't want to go head on to the South player.
Bounce down in the same position. Left half forward for Souths. It's 18-8 to 14-9. The margin, as I mentioned, 23 points. And we're now into time on in the final quarter. So difficult to see East Perth stealing this game, although Bill Cracker's kick has been marked by Edwards. He's at half back. He kicks into the centre square. Walker is the target. Atkins at the back. Rakes it back in, taps it to Wootton. McKnight to Worsfold. Worsfold from just ahead of the centre line and kicks towards Adrian Collard, who's really giving Jackamel a run around at the moment. Here's Peter Worsfold again. And now Adrian Collard again. And he's hit the post.
As the East Perth run has ended now, I think, as Wally mentioned, just not enough energy left in the legs.
Mark Watson's got something to work with Adrian Collard, Trevor, hasn't he?
Yes, talented boy. Very impressed with him today.
The kick back into play has been marked by Brooks in front of Andrew Cracker. Now the kick to the members' wing. Faithful sandwiched and outnumbered now as Bell runs it over the line.
I think the first thing he needs to work with Adrian Collard is that kicking style, TJ. Yes. He just drops the ball too close in. As a result, they're those really high kicks, but don't really travel a lot of distance.
Nearly 22 minutes gone in this last term. Pushed upfield by East Perth. Hits his Leicester now. Can he do something positive? The hand passes in front of Lyle, but it was an awkward bounce. Tackled by Karate. He loses it to Ballard. Ballard from the members' wing to half forward. Good leap from Foster, but beaten by Caputi. Going past is Wooten from Wooden from centre half forward. Adrian Collard again. Now can he be accurate this time? Yes, he's kicked a goal. That's his second for the match. And South Fremantle have too many guns for the Royals.
And he's had a terrific quarter, has Adrian Collard. And this player also, Nick Caputi, who's been very promising for a long while, giving the hand pass off there to Wooten and Collard. There's that kick as he drops the ball on the boot. He knew it was a goal. And the other scores there, Swan Districts and West Perth within 1 point of each other, I think, there. And Subiaco look like they've got East Fremantle under control.
Well, that's a great boost to the competition, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
not if you're an East Fremantle supporter, but with Subi starting to show a bit of form now.
And very entertaining too, while they really attack the football and kick a lot of goals. That's evidenced by that scoreline.
Despite the tape we had last week, Trevor, I still think Subiaco perhaps have the best players of all clubs.
Yeah.
As the ball goes towards half forward. Whether or not they can play as the best team remains to be seen, but they've got some talent there. As Worsfold runs the ball off the half back line, kicks towards the half forward line. Chance at the back now for Mazurek. Jackamel, oh, he's in all sorts of trouble. He's had a pretty tough last quarter, Jackamel. He gets the free kick this time. 19-9 to 14-9.
That's good kicking by Swans at the arena too. 12-3, isn't it?
Well, it'd be good conditions up there, wouldn't it? There's no better surface in West Australian football, and there's no wind to worry about this afternoon as Souths control the ball on their half-forward line in the direction of Dorotich. And John Dorotich will have a shot for his 9th. There's players running back into the square, but I think it's all a bit much for Doro at the moment to get back and try and pass the ball off. He'll be happy to take his time and accept the responsibility that is his as full forward. East Perth have had no answer to Dorotich this afternoon. That's a very good kick too. 9 goals to John Dorotich. It's been one of the highlights of the afternoon. And Souths now have their 20th, and that's terrific kicking. 20 goals from 29 scoring shots.
Yes, and they've kicked 7 for the quarter as the build up to this goal. The ball coming in there and Dorotich on the lead in front of Perry. He can lead, he has good strength. His kicking style is very, very good for a left footer, and he's been a great acquisition to South Fremantle and certainly my best on the ground today.
Will he play AFL football again?
Well, it wouldn't be silly to look at him. He can play at both ends of the ground, and he's done very well against some of those big name full forwards in previous times, TJ.
Johnson pushes it out to Lester for East Perth. He gets the hand pass away, looking for a teammate. He comes now towards Walker. Back to Lester. He was covered. Karati's there for South. Karati and Walker wrestle for it. Karati emerges, but the whistle is sounded. South coasting to victory here at Perth Oval. Sockered there by Miller. The centre half forward, Atkins, tackled by Walker. Bottrell showing good judgment and makes a bit of ground too, and finally kicks to half forward, but a good strong mark has been taken by Mazurek in front of Bell. Edwards, who's shown something since he came on for East Perth, but a good kicking style, kicks to centre half forward, Walker and Atkins. Off hands to Willison from outside centre half forward, and a good lead here by Talbot. Got away from Dempsey Narkle and is marked 40 metres out on a slight angle.
Might have been worth a try for these two players to be switched today, Dean Talbot and Lee Walker. This might have worried Dempsey Narkle out at centre half back a bit if he had have gone out with his opponent.
Talbot today is yet to kick a goal from 40 metres. The drop punt on the way is close, but not close enough.
It's from 9 kicks and 6 marks. Hasn't kicked a goal today, so disappointing for Talbot. He's certainly got the ball against Dempsey Narkle enough.
It's a real problem for East Perth, isn't it, their forward line? You see that as their major problem, Trevor?
Yeah, I think it is one of their big problems, TJ. And since they put Lee Walker down there, and that just takes a little bit away from their half back line as well.
South go around the outer side again through Narkle, and now McKnight. Still deep in his own defensive zone, kicks to the wing, and this young man has played superbly in the second half. Adrian Collard, 21 possessions now. This is Collins, who'll use it effectively. Good disposal inside centre half forward. Caputi at the back, knocks it down, but taken by Johnston. Mazurek there for East Perth. They run it across the half back line and clear it out of the danger zone, but Mazurek was dealt with in the process of kicking, or just after, according to the umpire, and the relayed kick down the ground to Lyle.
Seemed to be pretty much the same as the one earlier in the game to me, in the process of kicking, but it was a relayed kick on this occasion. And now Lester kicks towards half forward, but he miskicks, and Atkins takes the mark. Gruljicic on the end of the hand pass. Pops it over the top. Wooten has it. This is Gruljicic again. Around the grandstand flank. Bounces off Cliff Collard's chest. And there'll be a throw-in on South's left centre wing. We're well into time on now. And South's with a 35-point lead. 28 minutes played. Chance for Johnston. Lester is there also. And Stephen Lester looked back anxiously at the boundary umpire, fearing that that may have come off his foot accidentally. But it'll be a throw-in. Richard Graham to the side of the pack. Mazurek. Haskett. No one to kick it to. He's gone that across to the centre of the ground. Miller has to contest and does pretty well against McKnight. Collins is taken out by Miller, but recovers the ball well. Collins running the ball to half forward. Silcock joins him now. Mead trapped it cleverly. And East Perth can rebound. Gee, that's a terrible kick. Wooten taking the mark. Gets it over the half forward line, and guess who? Adrian Collard. Away he goes. He can have a shot from there. There's no leads on offer. He may as well. He's put it across the face, and Bell almost took the mark. Well, Collard, I think, was prepared to kick it to the top of the square, but there was no one there. So he elected to have the shot.
Yeah, a bit of experience there, though, Wild. I mean, you've got to actually put the ball at the top of the square, because players will get there.
So the throw-in taking place about 15 metres around from South's left-hand behind post. Clean possession to Brooks. And Mazurek gets it out of play. Playing out time here at Perth Oval. It's been a spirited game throughout. On numerous occasions, South looked as though they were going to break the game open, and to East Perth's credit, they came back strongly each time. But this final onslaught, early in the final term, was just too much. Bell's kick on goal is a beauty. He's a very talented young player. And despite the lateness of the game and the fact that there was no pressure, there was a touch of class about that.
Yes, his second brilliant left-foot goal. He got one at the other end of the ground in the third quarter, and he does like it, little Peter Bell. As I mentioned, playing as a half-forward today, but a very good crummer. There you see him deep in the left full forward pocket on his non-preferred side, with very little daylight between the goals, and he says, there it is, fellas.
3 goals to Peter Bell today, and we've seen some very clever snapshots in this match, Trev.
Yes, Peter Bell's previous goal, as I mentioned, was terrific, and and certainly, you know, the pressure's been on in the back line, and you need to be able to kick those, and that's a very good skill that Peter Bell's got that'll stand him in good stead in his career.
There's the siren to end this game here at Perth Oval, and South Fremantle run out winners by 41 points. 14-10-94 East Perth, beaten by the Bulldogs today, 21-9, 135. 41 points in favour of East Perth. A despondent in favour of South Fremantle. A despondent East Perth coach in Robert Solon would be wondering where to go from here. Now Swan Districts have pulled away from West Perth. Subiaco will beat East Fremantle, I think, there, and Claremont have always been in charge of Perth in the other game at Bath Lane Park today. The full marks to South Fremantle here this afternoon, winning their second game of the season, and perhaps they've turned the corner now, Trev.
I think the talent, there's too much talent in their team, TJ, for them not to be right about the place. That man, John Dorotich, there gives them a focal point in attack, and he can be very proud of his effort, not only today with 9 goals, but his effort right through the season when they've been struggling as well.
And Miller with 5 for East Perth was their leading goal kicker, and well supported by Haskett with 4. But Peter Miller played his heart out for his side today. There were times when you thought East Perth were going to win this game this afternoon, but South just a little bit too strong on the day, and it's a pretty happy band of Bulldogs, including Billy Cracker, who played a good game for his team this afternoon. John Dorotich, the star, though, with 9 goals. Here he is with Ashley Dillon.
Thanks very much, Trevor. A fantastic performance, 9 goals. Well done.
Yeah, thanks very much. Oh, it was pleasing. You know, 9 goals is always good in anybody's language, but the pleasing thing about it was today that we got ourselves out of a bit of a hole and we're now on a winning streak, we'll say.
Absolutely. What did Mark Watson have to say to the troops during the week?
Oh, I think, you know, our backs were to the wall and, you know, the side had been performing very poorly and the people had a lot to say, and I think in, you know, some way we've gone and earned a little bit of respect today, but, you know, we've played 7 games and only won 2. There's a hell of a lot of work to be done, but at least we're on the right track, I think.
I was going to say, you're on the upswing. Well done today personally and to the team, and best luck against West Perth next Sunday.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Yes, that should be a good game, South Fremantle and West Perth. It's one of the games on next weekend. Subiaco and Claremont next weekend will be a good game.
Just going to say, Trevor, a couple of good ones, isn't there? I mean, that will be a test for Subiaco now, just their newfound form.
Well, I think if you look back on this game, Trevor, the third quarter, the deciding one for South Fremantle.
Yes, it was 5 goals to 3 in that quarter, 5 to 3 too, but then South Fremantle finished off showing good fitness, kicking 8 goals 3 in the last quarter to 4 goals 2, and a fairly open performance. But they had players today, TJ, prepared to do the job, and I thought I was very impressed today particularly with Marty Atkins for his job on Lee Walker, and with Tommy Bottrell, his job initially on Stephen Lester, and then later on in the back pocket against Peter Miller when he threatened to take the game right away from South Fremantle.
And a bit of pressure off Mark Watson now.
Oh, yeah, I believe so. As I mentioned, Rick Godey said during the week that Mark Watson will coach the football club till the end of the year. That's terrific faith they're showing in him.
And this competition, Claremont continue to dominate, Trevor. And there's certainly other trendsetters, aren't they, in WAFL football?
Oh, I think they are, TJ. They have the best squad. I mean, I think South Fremantle have been underachievers in the first round with 2 from 7. And Subiaco perhaps the same, but they're starting to come good now. And, you know, so certainly Claremont, you know, they're the side to beat in this competition.
And Swan District's emerging as likely challenges for Claremont.
Pretty good performance to beat West Perth up there at Joondalup today, but when you think about that ground, TJ, maybe it's just a little bit like Bassendean. You know, they're out of side where the wind blows all the time, and perhaps Swan Districts were awake up to that situation there today. Well, Toddy visited during the week, I believe, and had a look at it.
He had a look
firsthand, yep.
I wonder how he found his way there. Right, so we see South Fremantle here, 41-point winners over East Perth, 21-9, 135 to 14-10, 94. And looking at the stats, pretty easy to see there, Trevor, where South got in charge of this game.
Well, a total of 14 more possessions for the game. Of course, they ran away with that a bit in the last quarter. 23 marked significantly, so that was certainly significant in the game. Hit-outs very even.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage here from Perth Oval in our match of the day. South Fremantle home by 41 points, and the highlights in our news tonight, and we'll see you again next week.